Generational talent. Is that what we're saying? Generational talent. Unbelievable performance last night. No question about it. What a weekend. Hey, and what a week too, right? What a great week coming up here with Thanksgiving. Then you've got Christmas. I mean, week 13 of the NFL concludes tonight. Week 12, I should say, concludes. Week 13 of college football concluded. And make no mistake about it. What a great weekend. And you're seeing teams now start to put themselves in position when it comes to the NFL playoffs. As we always start the show, big sales. Also, please, all super chats go to the top. And on top of that, we are trying to break a record today of 147 likes for first 15 minutes. Okay? First 15 minutes is the most important when it comes to our likes. And we appreciate that, each and every single one of you. We're going to obviously have a conversation about what went on last night. Thanks for always counting the Eagles out, Big Sills. It seems like you reverse jinxed them, and it's working. You're their good luck charm, you hater. No, I'm like Nick Sirianni said after the game last night. You haven't done dick. You haven't done shit. You've shown a lot, but you haven't done shit. Quote, Nick Siri lied. People are going to be telling you, like Always Sunny, how great you are. You haven't accomplished shit. Quote, head coach. Quote, quote. That ain't me saying it, but I've been echoing that. Hey, quite frankly, the coach said exactly what I said all year long. You haven't done dick. You're showing a lot, though. You definitely are. Hey, Barkley was sensational last night. The O-line was sensational. The defense is coming along. Unbelievable. Fangio could be the coach of the year assistant-wise. A.J. Brown is absolutely a force. Gabe says was at the game last night, Sills. Saquon was electric. I'm telling you, man, we're going to get into the Giants here in a second and their failures around him. That guy never existed. What I saw last night in New York, he never existed. By the way, enormous show today. At 3:30, NFL on Fox's Jimmy Johnson will join us. Then at 4:30, Sunday Night Football's Tony Dungy. 2 Hall of Fame coaches will join us today. First, we'll have Jimmy Johnson at 3:30, and then Tony Dungy will join us at 4:30 to give us their insights. Again, what's this here? Get this. Joe Ho. Chiefs almost lost to the Panthers, clown. Who fucking cares? They're going for a three-peat. Every time you put the Chiefs in your mouth, always put Super Bowl champions. Back to back. No matter what it is. Always put Super Bowl champions. Okay? They got to win it all at this point. 14 wins doesn't mean shit. Amen. I'd play Milton at edge and Carter for some snaps. We're going to get to all this. No question about it. BG was absolutely insane last night and how great he played. And to be lost for the season with a tricep injury is devastating and catastrophic to the edge rushers, where you're already thin right now. We're going to get to our takeaways here in a second, but I'll make the point to you one more time. You haven't accomplished shit yet. However, you're doing a lot. And that's what I wrote down here. You guys are showing a lot. You're showing a lot. Last night was a clear takeaway game, even more so than what it was a week ago against the Commanders. Okay? Even more so against the Commanders. Last night, you had some star people on the football field, and you had star coaching. I don't care what John McMullen says about Sean McVay. He's got the best resume of any coach in the NFC because of the championships that he's won. 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl. And there's no question about it. One of the great play callers in the game today. Nobody has a championship resume in the NFC like Sean McVay does. And no question about it, Vic Fangio had a great night last night against them again. Okay? Had a great night against him again last night. So, I mean, hey, get this. Well, exactly, Senor. What a Sirianni won. What a Sirianni won. When we're in a conversation about Sean McVay and Nick Sirianni, what the fuck has he won? Help me out here. What's he won? What's he won? McVay's trash? What exactly has he won? Admiration? Sirianni, what has he won? What has he won? An NFC championship? McVay's got 2 in a Super Bowl. What exactly has Sirianni won? He wins games. Stu, he wins games. McVay wins the games. The games. For that one? No. He's got 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl, and he's 38 and he's younger. What has Nick won? My point was is that Fangio had a great night against him last night. Yeah. Hey, Sue, when Sue doesn't have an answer for you, you know what she does? It's a typical stupid-ass line of whatever. Okay, whatever is right because you can't compete with him. Nick has done nothing compared to Sean. He's a great coach. Get that through your heads. Okay, hey, get this. Nick is 2-0 with games that don't matter. 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl. I don't really have to say anymore. I really don't. So we'll move on. Once again, Jimmy Johnson, 330. And Tony Dungy at 430. Here's, just before I get to my takeaways, to the numbers, and my game balls, I'm going to put them in order again like this. Defense was great. Am I sold? They have put a lot of weeks together now where they're looking consistent. Can I tell you what this is going to come down to? Playing consistent football and not getting hurt. And the war of attrition. That's what this is going to come down to. Des the Jew, our friend. At this point, can we say we have a good defense? Yes, Des. Yes. I concede on that. It's good. You're thin at edge, but it's good. Trolls, it's dark times. Stay strong. Let's go Ravens. Don't let them make you fold. I'm not folding for what? I'm a prove it guy. You haven't proven shit yet. You're showing a lot again. You've won nothing on November 25th. Nothing. Like Nick said after the game last night, he's right. And I'm echoing the coach's sentiments because that's how people with the common sense and a normal brain think. They're not doing victory laps on November 25th. If you are, you're like 10 years old and don't get football. Okay? So we'll get to our takeaways here. MVP talk about Saquon Barkley, folks. Oh, we'll save that. We'll save that, okay? We'll save that. Okay? Get this. Hey, Senor, win it. Change the narrative. Win it. Hey, how about those shitty coaching decisions he made yesterday? Thank God Barkley and that roster are good because your coach is pathetic. Dude, really, you talk about weak links on your team, your fucking head coach is absolutely the record's a fraud for him. That's all players, man. And most notably, Howie. That coach, without a doubt, there were some bonehead bullshit decisions that guy made again. Unbelievable. Sirianni outcoached McVay. How you doing? No, he didn't. Sirianni doesn't coach anything. He doesn't have a job. He's a caretaker and motivational speaker. That's all you have. Just you prove you are a hater. Most, if not all, Eagle podcasters are talking good about the Eagles except for you. I'm not talking bad about the Eagles. I'm talking about in the now, not hoping, wishing, and praying. I don't do that. Marquise tells you exactly what I'm never going to be. I'm never going to sound like the same because those guys are all fucking flag wavers. Hey, my aunt even told me, why did you pick the Rams? Because I thought it was going to be a contest, and I thought Sean McVay had his guys ready. He didn't. Congratulations. Proved wrong. Okay. That's what this is about. It's not about me being right. This is not about being right. This is about you winning a Super Bowl. It's not about me. Dude, this is not about me. This is about Super Bowl winning. It has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with me. Nick and Jalen will hold them back. You notice I don't bring up Hurts because I don't really have to, because he doesn't have to be great when you have a running back that's doing historic things. I thought he was okay. I thought the pass to AJ was a great pass. Great tap-toe catch in the back of the end zone. But he really doesn't have to be great. Okay? He doesn't. He doesn't have to be great. Okay? It doesn't. Just has to be decent, not turn the ball over. Rams gifted the Rams a TD. Listen, I'm not really a guy that goes after the rest because it's a human game. Okay? By the way, I appreciate all your super chats. But that was atrocious last night by the NFL officiating, and they did keep the Rams in it. I don't traditionally go down that line, but that was a horribly officiated game. And most notably, it was skewed in the Rams' favor. BG injury is a huge blow to the defense. We need an edge. Well, you're not getting an edge. You're going to have to make an edge. Big Sills keeps it real. Much respect. Thank you. Hey, once again, it's about winning championships. Okay? Please hit that like button. First 15, I'd love to see if we can get past 147 in likes. By the way, I'm going to get to my takes here. And here's my takeaways. Amazing performance last night by Saquon Barkley. Just an amazing. McVay wishes he had Aaron Donald and Kitchens. That's okay. I think with a Super Bowl ring. It's an amazing performance. I mean, he was dominant. I never saw that guy that good, okay, in New York. Never. He was never that guy. Who's eating crow for Thanksgiving, Angelo? Nobody's eating. Well, because he picked 5 wins. Okay. Sure. Hey, dude, we're not fortune tellers. Barkley was insane. I can't believe the explosiveness that he has. And I posted this on my Twitter page, my X account. So the New York Giants in the last 10 years is 56-101-1. And John Mara let that guy walk out the building. They've been to 2 playoff appearances in a decade. And you're telling me that you made a mistake and you benched 2 quarterbacks in 3 days between the pizza guy and Daniel Jones, who you released, and you let Barkley walk out the building for 0 compensation. How do you think you're running that organization? And Joe Schoen deserves an opportunity to come back, and Brian Dable? How in the world do you think and trust that guy? Do you understand the Giants have to start all over again now? If they're going to go to another quarterback, they have to start all over again. And you're going to trust those guys who lied to Saquon Barkley in free agency? Barkley said it himself. I never believed them. They weren't going to bring me back because they never offered me. Can you imagine that? This guy's averaged 200 rushing yards the last 2 weeks. He's on pace for 2151, which would break the 2105 record. Now, remember something. Dickerson did it in 16 games. Regardless, this guy's potentially going to get 500 receiving yards, 2,500 total yards. Once again, this will come down to the fact that he's not going to have a boatload of touchdowns. And that tush-push thing may end up costing him. That's why we brought the topic up, folks. We don't just bring up topics for shits and giggles. That could cost him in the end, especially if Henry's close to him and he has 25 touchdowns and 2,000 rushing yards himself. By the way, this next weekend could be an MVP game. Barkley, Henry, and Lamar Jackson are going to be on the field. 3 of the top 4 candidates for the MVP award are going to be playing against one another this weekend. This is an MVP game, not just staying with the pace. Ravens can't lose. Play a big one tonight. They can't lose. They play a demanding schedule. They can't. They're going to play the Chargers and then turn around and play the Eagles on Sunday. That's a brutal stretch. Short work week, everything. Regardless. Anthony says Allen will get the MVP. They're probably going to lean there. We'll talk more about that. I want to give you my takeaways first on the game, okay? Yeah, he was sensational last night. He just absolutely was sensational. Career game, career night. Unbelievable. I got to go here too. The offensive line, let me tell you what you have that's different this year. You have a running back that matches the talent in your O-line, and that's why you're seeing tremendous rushing numbers. Dude, no disrespect to Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift. They're fine ball players. But that guy is a great talent. You have a great talent with a great talented O-line, and it's meshing, and take a look at what you're seeing. That's as good as it gets. Stuff up in Detroit, same thing. You got 2 backs that are going to go over 1,400 yards. I've never seen that. You've got 3 things going on in the rushing game. You've got what's going on in Baltimore, what's going on in Philly, and what's going on in Detroit. What's it all based around? Great O-lines. And the Eagles might just have the best O-line in football. I mean, they were tremendous last night. Micaiah Becton has absolutely fit in at right guard. He is doing a great job. Hey, and for the record, Cam Jurgens has done a sensational job. Hurts had an average game, but hard to have great passing game with Barkley, 2 of those runs. Hurts made some plays on 3rd down, loved the short intermediate passes. He didn't have to be special. Then again, if Barkley is sensational like that, Hurts doesn't have to be spectacular or special. And he wasn't. He was efficient. That's okay. Nothing wrong with an efficient quarterback, especially when you're blowing teams out on the road and you're getting dude, it's the 9th greatest performance in NFL history running the ball. You have to put that in context of 105 years of NFL football. The 9th best. That's a historic night. I mean, he didn't have to do anything. And by the way, there's no rip in it. He was just a dude out there. Made some nice throws. He was over. Hey, when you have your defense playing like that and your O-line and your running back playing like that, why put your team in harm's way to help the Rams get back in the game? There's no sense of it. It's not a rip. But Hurts, to a point, was like really a non-factor in that game. I should say, the 3rd down, he was There were some plays he made, but at the end of the day, that thing was the Saquon Barkley show last night, and it was the defensive show. It's not a rip. Afternoon Sills is Saquon the best Eagles free agent of all time. I think it's between him and T.O. The one thing about T.O., though, man, it lasted a year and a couple games. You know, right now what you're seeing is T.O. had a really sensational first year. He helped the team get into the Super Bowl. Will Barkley do that and help get his team into the Super Bowl? Yet to be determined. That guy had a great and sensational season, that Super Bowl season. I think he had 14 touchdowns. I think he missed the last couple games because of that leg injury, got into the Super Bowl, and was sensational in the Super Bowl. I thought that was our best opening drive all season, even though it only resulted in 3 points. Hey, you know, let me, and I appreciate it. All supers absolutely go to the top. Please hit the like button. Let me get in here. So that O-line was absolutely spectacular and special. Like I said, Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift are really good football players when they're with that O-line with the Eagles. But at the end of the day, you now put a sensational talent of Saquon Barkley behind that O-line. That's the result you're getting. And it's on display right now. And boy, I'll tell you what, I mean, just sensational numbers he put up last night. It was fun to watch, actually. If Hurts was a non-factor, but flick it, then please. Not sure what you mean, Justo, but it's not a rip. He didn't have to be a factor last night. He didn't have to throw them back into a ball game. It's not a rip, man. The 9th greatest rushing attack of all time was on display last night. You get out of the way. You don't try to throw the football and get in the way of that, especially when the Rams were dominated at the point of attack. There's no reason for it. Okay? Here. You can't win without a passing quarterback, right? So, yeah, you can't. You won't win a Super Bowl with just that kind of performance because you're not going to play a defense like that in the postseason. You're not going to run into teams like that. One-dimensional. Good offense and undersized defensive linemen and teams not playing well. You're not. You run into good football teams and well-coached teams and hot teams in the postseason. Yes, that's what you run into. Jalen Carter continues to dominate. His arm over, his dominance in the middle. I thought he was absolutely sensational. You know, I know some people were good on Jordan Davis, but I don't know. I'm hearing Josh Sweat, who had another great game. I'm hearing Milton Williams, impact players. I don't really hear him. So the guy in the middle is Jalen Carter. He's not playing Pro Bowl level. He's playing all pro level. Him and Dexter Lawrence, the kid up in New York, could be the 2 best interior linemen if things roll out for these next 6 weeks. Absolutely great. Golf had a game where he had 80 yards passing, and they won 56-6. Enjoy the win. We always find something to complain about. Nobody's complaining here, fuckwad. Nobody's complaining. I'm not complaining about it. What am I complaining about? Nobody's complaining. Nobody's complaining. Pick Ravens next week so we can win. Sills, would you use Bond at edge? We're going to get out there. Sills, with the production of the running game, how would we be hard-pressed to let Beckham walk? Unless Beckham would get a second say, pick how he should resign him. I think that's going to cost him a lot if they end up doing that. Okay? That to me, okay? Wait a minute. Prince, I apologize. I take that back, Prince. I'm sorry. Golf had a game where he had 80 passing yards and they won 56-6. Enjoy the win. We always find something to complain about. I'm not saying you, Sills. Okay, Prince, I apologize. Forgive me. Okay? Forgive me, Prince. Sorry, brother. Okay? Sorry. I apologize. Jason, thank you for the super. I have a conspiracy theory that NFL throttles the Eagles with BS calls because they know we have a Ferrari engine under the hood and we can blow anyone out. I would save our best plays for the playoffs while running Barkley. Hey, Xander, I just missed the super chat. Hey, Prince, I apologize. I missed the super chat here, Xander. I want to make sure I get it here. Trent Dilfer was a nice, efficient Super Bowl ring. I'd be good with it. Absolutely. Okay. Sills about to throw something at the camera. Keep it up, chat. Dude, what are you under the impression you upset me? Okay. Are you under the impression you upset me that much? Stills, I'm with you. AJ's dominant, but the line is the engine. The line was absolutely, it's all good. I'm used to it. hey, thank you, Prince. Prince is starting to be like my old lady. I'm used to his bullshit. He didn't add the latter part of it. Hey, I'm used to his bullshit now. Okay. Sills, you better be voting for Bo Nix for Rookie of the Year. Absolutely not. I'm still going Jaden Daniels. Sills, shout out to Jeff Stoutland. Barkley went for 616 yards untouched. That offensive line is absolutely amazing in what they are doing. No doubt about it. How about this too, man? Here's where the game was also an absolute crushing blow for the Rams last night. The Eagles were 8 of 12 on third down. The Rams were 0 for 5 on third down. Hey, that's great, man. Way to go, guys. 184 likes so far. Please keep hitting that like button. Cooper DeJean. Wow. You know, I know you guys are impressed with Quinyon Mitchell. I'm more impressed with Cooper DeJean. Ever since they put him in the secondary, it's completely been a different secondary. He is a force. He is a really great player. I mean, his potential is off the charts. That guy went in the second round. Who the fuck evaluated that? I mean, wow. He is off the charts. I mean, man. Hey, and by the way, like I predicted, okay, Slay's falling apart right in front of your eyes. And they targeted him all night. Sills, what a wonderful game plan from the coaching staff. Barkley, O-line, AJ, and the defense. Keep the passing to a minimum. They win. Absolutely, Brian. That's exactly what I said. And Brian, I'm not ripping Hurts. Okay, that's exactly what they did last night. They didn't really have to have a gigantic passing game, and they haven't had a passing game since the bye. They're just running the shit over people right now. Do you know they've gotten back to their roots from that bullshit year of a year ago where they were trying to be a finesse team and spread the ball around? They're just running people over now. I don't know about you, but that's like Mike Tyson fighting a guy who likes to jab. He's going to catch you with a haymaker. The Eagles throw haymakers, and they're going to catch you and slow you down, and you get out to these great starts. Every team gets out to a great start, and what happens? They hit you with a haymaker, and that haymaker's Barkley. Okay? Guys, please, the super chats are awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. O-line is the body shots in boxing. Absolutely, man. They're tenderizing those teams, man. Can you read my last super chat you skipped? We read it already. I'm assuming. Name one player you enjoy watching on this team, Big Sills, offense or defense. Got it. Thank you very much, Sander. There's many. Dan, the Washington pick ain't looking good for you. It's November 25th. We'll see. Okay? Remember, war of attrition. They got a big lead right now. No question. Don't get another injury. No likes for Sills until he talks good about Hurts. I don't have to. We didn't do anything last night. A player that I enjoy watch, AJ. Hey, look, I get on that guy's shit for his quirky asshole attitude, but he's a great player. Barkley is sensational to watch. I mean, I'm with Verse. That guy was never that guy in New York. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he's running like Barry Sanders. Like Sanders. Jalen Carter is playing great football. Hey, by the way, before Brandon Graham got injured, he was all over the field. I thought he wrecked the entire second or third quarter. I thought he wrecked it himself. Those young tackles could not stop him. If that's the way you're going to go out, you go out with a bow on a great night of football. Becton said himself he likes taking their will. They took their will last night, no doubt. Here's the thing with Vic. Sills, if you're Howie, do you call J.J. Watt, yes or no? How about Aaron Donald? Why wouldn't you call Aaron Donald? Donald's retired. Why don't you call him? Call Aaron Donald. He's 1 year removed from retirement. I mean, greatest defensive tackle pass rusher. You could put Williams and keep him out there on the perimeter, and you bring in another tackle to back up the two young guys in the middle. I mean, why not? Why not ask him? J.J. Watt's 3 years removed. Now, he did offer his services to the Texans this year. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. Okay? I don't know what kind of shape. But if I'm going to, maybe as you get closer to the year, and I'm talking the second season, you call Aaron Donald, hey, you want a playoff run for another ring and a shot at another ring? Sewer Peppers? What Peppers? I don't, dude, if I can get Aaron Donald or I can get J.J. Watt, I'm going to go there. I'm not going to go Dominic Sue. I don't need another guy. So you ask Aaron Donald if he wants to come back. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about because the guys that are out there right now walking the street are not worth bringing in. They're not worth bringing in. So let me get to the Fangio here. First quarter seems to be a problem for him, but then he adjusts, and he does a great job adjusting because the second, third, and fourth quarters, he pretty much owns. 290 yards you held that Rams team, 4.9 yards per play. You had 5 sacks in the game. I mean, just like Cincinnati, just like Washington, just like all these teams get out to a nice start. Vic looks at the game plan, and he looks at what they're doing. And the greatest thing that you can ever say about Bill Belichick, and one of the things that kind of reminds me a little bit of Belichick when it comes to Fangio, are those in-game adjustments. Because he puts those in-game adjustments together, and it flips the script on these teams. He has and is having a great year. And I'll say it one more time to the coach and the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Whatever you're doing down there and why those players didn't want to listen to him is a direct result on why you got blown out at the end of the season a year ago. Jalen Hurts gets full credit for his mere attendance according to his enthusiasts. You give them an inch and they'll take the whole sausage. Brian, he was a non-factor last night outside of a few plays, and one of them was a great throw in the back of the end zone to AJ. But that's not a problem when you have the 9th greatest performance in rushing history. You get out of the way of that. It's not a rip. When somebody's doing something iconic in the NFL, you don't get in the way of it. The Rams' responsibility was to try to stop that, and they couldn't. Why would you do anything else? That's poor coaching. If you were to get in the way and start throwing stupid passes all over the field, that's dumb coaching. You had a guy that was running people over in an O-line that was an earth grader last night, like you're up in Lake Tahoe mowing snow off the highway. You don't just get out of, you don't just start stopping and go, well, let's throw the passes. There's no need for it. There's just no need. AJ was a force last night. He continues to impress. I'll tell you two things. I'm going to give Howie Roseman some flowers here. Okay? So they didn't know in New Orleans what they had with Gardner Johnson and Zach Bond. They didn't know what they had in Tennessee with A.J. Brown, and they didn't know what they had in New York with Barkley. You talk about organizations that have to do a better job at knowing their personnel and knowing how to utilize and player develop. Man, you talk about failures across the board. How do you have that kind of player on your team and you don't maximize their talent? And you don't know what they are and who they are? That's poor coaching. That's poor player development. A.J. Brown was not spectacular in Tennessee. 60 catches, 900 yards, 1,100 yards. That's common in today's NFL, like T. Higgins. But when you made him a number one, transformed him into being one of the top two wide receivers in the National Football League. In my opinion, I take him over everybody in the league because he blocks in the run game, and he knew how to block for Derrick Henry. I mean, now he's blocking for Barkley. I mean, there's no doubt he's a complete receiver. The only stupid thing I hate about that guy is that if the play doesn't come to his side, he kind of has a little Randy Moss in him a little bit. You could tell he's not really going all out at the end of the day. But he was a force last night. They can't cover him. Dude, when you get into a football game and you're at DC and you're going Brown and Barkley, that O-line, fuck, man. That O-line's intimidating. The most intimidating part of the Eagles is the O-line. They are absolutely intimidating in what they're doing. Okay? Don't you want that? We need motherfuckers, not some cream pack. No, Xander. I'm not ripping anything here. You're mowing people over right now. I'm not, this is not a rip. You're running people over. It's an identity. By the way, you see what the players did last night? Chris Collinsworth and everybody, and the sideline reporter was making comments that the O-line went over to the coaches and said, let's not throw the ball. Let's get back to our identity and run the ball. The O-line went over. Lane Johnson and Mulata went over to the coaches and said, let's not forget our identity. They don't want to throw the ball. They want to run people over. Imagine that. They don't want the ball in the air. That was said last night. That's not me saying it. That's the players on your team saying it. Coach, let's get back to our identity and let's run the ball. Okay? Let's run the ball. Dude, 18 to 22 passes, 38 to 45 runs. That's Eagle ball now, man. 2024. That's your identity moving forward. Do I like that identity? Can it win it in the NFC? Let me get down to that here. But let me finish up here. I'm not a big fan of talking refs, but they sucked last night. Eagle fans were awesome at SoFi last night. They owned the place. I mean, Rams had to go to silent count a couple times. Here's the key. Continue to get better and stay healthy. And are you in the room now for a Super Bowl? Yeah. Yeah. Now, to me, it's about playing better, continuing to get better, continuing to get those young guys reps, and stay healthy. The only reason that the Eagles will not win the Super Bowl is injury. They're in the room with the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. Those teams you're in the conversation with. I think you're just as formidable as the Lions offensively. The Lions have arguably the second or first best offensive line, and they've got a better tandem of running backs. But Barkley could cover for both of them, and it's kind of a push. They're going to get 3,000 rushing yards this year. Do you understand that? They're going to have 3,000 rushing yards, the Lions. I'm not sure their defense, though, is where it needs to be without Aiden Hutchinson being on that team. Now, you losing BG, that's also a kind of a push because you're not strong any longer and you're weak at the edge and you're undersized at the edge. Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, Josh Sweat, okay, but the rest of those guys are undersized. So are you going to be stout enough at the perimeter now without Brandon Graham being out there? That's a massive loss. And by the way, the one thing that you're also going to have to be cognizant of, slaying in and out of the lineup, Isaiah Rodgers was picked on by an experienced quarterback, and they were targeting his ass, albeit a shitty call by the ref. But you're going to be targeted all day long but when Isaiah Rodgers is out there. Ringo is not the answer. Ringo's not the answer. Or Vic would have him out there. Okay? Vic would have him out there. Sills, this team is right now is if it ain't broke, don't fix it stage. They now have an R playing to their identity. Now they need to work on a counterpunch if they run into any issues. I would say you got to get Hurts more established. I would say getting Jalen more established. Not a lot, but just keep with getting him more efficient. Don't turn the ball over. Start making some plays across the middle of the field. Get the tight end more involved. Thought Goddard got a little bit last night as well, but get him more involved. Keep him honest. Dude, get this, man. I'm going to tell you this. When you become predictable throwing to your two wide receivers, that's one thing. When you become predictable running the ball and you can't stop it, there's nothing you can do about it. There's something I can do about being predictable when I'm going to two wide receivers. There's nothing I can do if you're running me over. Do you understand what I'm saying about a run game like that, what you saw last night? There's nothing you can do about it. I've been in games like that. There's just nothing you can do about it. No matter how good your record is, no matter how good your team is, when guys are fucking running you over like that, there's nothing on the planet. You walk over to your sideline, you praying your coach doesn't say anything. And you know the most important thing if you're the opposing, let me tell you something when it comes to tomorrow for the Rams, or today I should say. Ram players don't want to see that tape because they got ran over. They got ran over. Getting run over. Hey, one thing giving up 500 yards in passing, you can get away with that. Being run over, that's just taking your will away. There's just nothing you can do about it. I mean, do you know how many teams the Rams are going to run into like that? One. They're not going to run into a team like that again. Saquon Barkley looks like that's not Saquon Barkley to me. That's not Saquon Barkley. I've never seen that version of him. Dude, he's running through the line of scrimmage 4 yards before they touch him. That O-line they're playing better than any of the years that I've covered you. Cam Jerkins is an upgrade on Jason Kelsey of a year ago. He's an upgrade. He's an absolute upgrade. And Becton is an upgrade from Jergens a year ago. Dickerson continues to impress. Hey, I saw Mulatto get knocked on his ass. That's just a leverage play. That's not a big deal. Happens to everybody. He's playing great ball. I mean, Lane is probably playing the best ball he's played in 3 years, including 22. Great. Great. So, my takeaway, they're proving it to me. They're proving it to me. Okay? Manster, it is positive. You know why it's positive for me? You went into the ring and you beat that team up. There's no evaluation. There's no breaking down. There's just beating the fuck out of people. Dude, getting beat up like that is not cool. Sills, I love Barkley, but we should have gotten another running back at the deadline. Kenny Gainless is really gaining less. I don't trust a guy named Kenny. Brian, I think he's efficient enough. I think they're just my problem is this with Barkley. He's looking at 345 rushing attempts. He's never had more than 290, and he's older now. I mean, why is he in the ball game in the third and fourth quarter, albeit it makes for an iconic night for him and the ninth greatest performance? I love watching greatness. I loved watching it as a fan, but as an organization, you really need it when you got the game in hand. You're putting them out there and keeping them out there. Man, you need that guy against Ball. Hey, like I said, this game against Baltimore, you got 3 of the top 4, 5 candidates for the MVP award in this game on Sunday. This ain't going to be a game for the faint of heart. You got Derrick Henry. You've got Lamar Jackson. And you've got Barkley. And to some extent, A.J. Brown and Hurts. Look at that, what you have going on this weekend. Fuck. I mean, this is like big-time old-school football this week. I'm suspect on the Ravens' defense, but holy shit. You got big-time ball players. By the way, that tight end, Andrews for Baltimore's great. You got that kid Hamilton that plays in the secondary for the Ravens is a great ball player. There is a ton of great ball players in this game this weekend. Hey, by the way, see this conversation? I'd take Barkley over Henry every day. Are you under the impression if Derrick Henry was on that Eagles team, you don't think he'd be rushing? He's rushing for 2,000 yards himself right now. Are you under the impression he couldn't do that? That guy has done that every year of his career. Barkley has never, and he's been on shittier teams. Are you under the impression Derrick Henry's a Hall of Famer? Don't get yourself ahead of yourself. He's having an iconic year. I'm not saying that. But that guy's had an iconic career. Okay? No, hey, that's a different conversation. Is Barkley more complete? Yes. Barkley is not going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Henry is. And he's doing it still. Barkley has over 1,000 yards before contact. Tremendous when it comes to the O-line. Absolutely true. Okay? Absolutely true. Barkley's career isn't over. Obviously, Henry's isn't either. And Derrick Henry's had 11,000 rushing yards. Barkley's career was wasted in New York because New York wasted it. Make no mistake about it. We'll get to the MVP conversation here. Jimmy Johnson's going to join us at 3:30 from NFL on Fox, and then Tony Dungy is going to join us at 4:30. The NFL really thought they could diminish the running back position. Look at them all flourishing. Hey, Devontae, look at Aaron Jones. Look at Josh Jacobs. Shit, look at J.K. Dobbins, who's a former Raven himself, out in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Look at Barkley in Philly. Incredible on what's happening with the running back position. There's clearly a resurgence. By the way, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry are raising the value of the running back position again this year. Henry would not fit. He needs to be in an I formation. That could be a little bit, Sean. I might buy that. I wanted Barkley and Henry this offseason. I don't think he would have been wrong with either one, but Barkley gives you more in the pass game for sure. Okay? That's not Derrick's game. But I'll tell you, both are exceptional runners in between the tackles and explosive. Joe Mixon's killing it. He absolutely is. I disagree. Sills Barkley's closest to Barry Sanders since Barry. Bro, he's had 6 years and he's had 3 1,000-yard years. And they've been like 1,200 yards. He's been and it's a giant issue, not a Barkley issue. He doesn't have the numbers. Absolutely. He'll never get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He doesn't have the numbers. The only reason Terrell Davis got in is because he got injured. I mean, he's not ever going to the Hall of Fame. No one's voting for that. He's not. Dude, I put these lists together for Hall of Fame voters. I know what they vote on. See where he's at. Just, again, before I continue on with the numbers. He's at, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in 7 years, he's got 6,600 rushing yards. He'll never get in. He's probably 150th, 200 in rushing in NFL history. The Giants destroyed his career and opportunity. Okay? I mean, look, he's having a Hall of Fame season. And you know what you're going to look back on? What could have been and what New York did to his career. New York fucked him over by not putting a team around him. This is the New York issue, not a Barkley issue. Okay? This is a Barkley issue. So let's get to the numbers. By the way, again, absolutely iconic night for him. Sills, I think Barkley can handle the load. If I think he has always been able to. Different is he's not getting killed 4 yards behind the line like he did in New York. Richard, you're dead on. If Barkley had been an Eagle, I said this, Matthew, if Saquon Barkley started his career in Philadelphia, he might threaten Emmitt Smith's number. Keith, thanks. Sills, your scary tactics are getting too old. What scary tactics? Over the last 7 weeks, we have shut down, once again, end of story, on to Baltimore. Scary tactics. No, I'm a prove it guy, and I want to see it guy. You had a lot of brand new turnover with new coordinators. You had the same shit a year ago. Sorry, Keith. I don't have a fucking stick. I don't know what you're talking about. And I don't think I could be any more positive than I am right now. You're proving it. Nick Sirianni said something right after the damn game last night. Don't be reading and listening to Keith here, okay? Because they're going to be telling you how fucking good you are. We haven't accomplished shit. End of quote. That's your coach. Is that a scary tactic? Why don't you take it up with your coach then? Because that's a scary tactic. Your coach said that. No, it's not prove me wrong Eagles. It's proved me right, and they are. Sensitive? Dude, I get sensitive when my steak gets cold, not when you make a dumb comment. Sills, if he gets 15 or 2,000 yards for the next, okay. Now you're talking about, let's see, again, now you're getting into the world I hate. Well, let's worry about 2024 first. You act as old. We're a top 3 offense. No, you're not. You're a top 3 rushing attack. And defense, and Saquon will be in the hall along with every 2K yard rusher. This guy's trying to tell you that every guy that's gained 2,000 yards has made it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to show you what a bullshit comment that is. NFL seasons with 2,000 rushing yards list. Let's take a look at that. On people that have gained 2,000 rushing yards. Jamal Lewis, I must have missed that. Chris Johnson, I must have missed that. Okay? I must have missed those guys. Those guys aren't in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They didn't make it. Now, I won't lie. Let's see here. Terrell Davis is in. Jamal Lewis is not. Chris Johnson is not. Peterson will be, I think. And Derrick Henry. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who are not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame out of the 8. Complete bullshit lie, not true. Seals, do you honestly think Hurts didn't do anything yesterday? No, I thought he was efficient. I didn't think he was special. Thought he was efficient. Didn't have to be. He had the 9th greatest performance going on. What's wrong with you folks? You get out of the way of that if you're a quarterback. You don't get in the way. The guy was having an iconic night. They were running people over. Why would you get in the way with a stupid passing game? I thought he was good. I didn't think he was great. Wasn't special. They didn't need him to be special. It's not. Okay? It's not a rip. That's all we need Jalen to do, efficient, not turn the ball over. And make plays on 3rd down, Twiz. Yeah, it's not a rip. Nobody's ripping him. Okay? He didn't have to be special. The guy behind him was. The O-line was. The defense was. The D coordinator was. Didn't have to be special. It's not a rip. Okay? By the numbers. Obviously, 37-20. That last touchdown, it was a blowout. First downs, 24-23. I think a lot of that came on that last drive. Here's the game right here. Eagles are 9 of 15 on 3rd down. The Eagle defense, 0 for 8. They held the Rams to. That's fantastic. And here's another great number that I'm a fan of. Total yards, 481. Yeah, 314 of that came via the rush. Held another team to 290. Passing, 167 to 198. Passing was on display last night. It was early. Sacks. Eagles had 5 sacks on the Rams. Outstanding. The Rams only had 1 on Hurts. Rushing. 45 attempts, 314 yards. Somebody goes like this, Sills. They have 481 in total offense. Yeah, 314 running the ball. Absolutely. 18-92. Again, I don't think the kid Robinson or Williams, excuse me, I don't think he had a bad game. 16 for 72 yards. That's not a bad night with a touchdown. Remember something. All you have to do is get 60 yards a game. You're a 1,000-yard rusher in today's NFL. So he's over the norm. I mean, that's a 1,000-yard performance. In today's NFL, Barkley was just insane. Here's another super one. Eagles are doing this on a consistent basis. Holding teams under 60 plays. They had 59 plays in this game, the Rams. The Eagles had nearly 70. I mean, play differential, and that's even given that last bullshit series the Rams had. By the numbers. I'll do my game balls here next. Jimmy Johnson is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. And then Tony Dungy will join us at 4:30. Hurts, 15-22, 179. You know, it's funny. Xander asked me what my prediction was going to be over or under on Jalen Hurts in the pregame show on Sunday. I said about 155 yards passing, 65 yards rushing. That's kind of what it was. I mean, 179, touchdown, 15-22. Okay. Efficient. Stafford was 24-36, a lot of that in the first drive and in the last drive. 243 and 2 touchdowns. They pretty much shut him down after the first drive of the ball game. Barkley, 26 for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. 9th greatest performance in pro football history. Williams, 16 for 72 and a touchdown, like I said. Receiving, AJ got his numbers. 6 for 109 and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, by the way, is the real deal. 9 catches, 117. Cooper Kupp, 8 for 60 and a TD. Barkley had 4 catches for 47. Barkley just had an insane night last night. He was just special last night. He was special last night. Yeah, I mean, he was great. AJ and Barkley throwing and pass the ball to themselves. Hey, Justo, these guys were great last night. AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley were, without a doubt, a force last night. I'm going to take this guy off this list here on my game ball, and I'm going to put this guy here because if I don't do that, I'm John McMullen and myself, and I'll explain. So I'm going to do this, and I'm not just going to do it to make my takes not be right, but sound right. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change that up. And I'm going to go from 10 to 1 for my game balls instead of 1 to 10. Actually, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to start at the top. Big Sales game balls for the performance yesterday. Number 1, Saquon Barkley. Absolutely sensational. I mean, explosion. What a teammate. You know, Tiki Barber used to try to tell people he was a bad teammate and he was a cancer to Giant fans. If you're a New York Giant fan and you're watching what that guy did last night, you've got to be sitting here going like this. What's Tiki talking about? Tiki was one of the most hated players in pro football history. What's he talking about? I don't think there's any coincidence. Once they got rid of Tiki and he retired, they won 2 Super Bowls. The locker room became much better because he was fighting Tom Coughlin all the time. He was always fighting Tom Coughlin. Well, they got rid of him. They won 2 Super Bowls. Seals, do you think guys like Nacua fall to the 5th or why do you think? I'm assuming you're saying that. Brigham Young, maybe a couple injuries, maybe didn't test well at the combines. Hey, you got to remember something too, Big C. Antonio Brown was like a 5th or 6th rounder. Okay, he wasn't a top guy. He wasn't a top pick. Okay, I mean, he wasn't. He was like a 5th or 6th round draft pick. Some guys just fall through the cracks. And the wide receiver position, how do guys like Jalen Reagor get drafted in the 1st and guys like Puka Nacua go in the 5th? Okay, I don't know. I mean, Brady going in the 6th round, same situation. Talent evaluating. Hey, by the way, something else too. You know, when you're talking about talent evaluating, I mean, Tom Brady, whatever people want to say about the Patriots, they missed on him 5 times too. You can say whatever you want about him, but they missed on him too. Rondé was a great player and well-respected in the league. Tiki was never. He's not returning this year. He's talking about potentially next year. Saquon Barkley gets the number 1 game ball for me. Number 2, the offensive line. Every guy on that old line gets it. Okay? They were fabulous last night. You can't measure heart and will. No, you can't. And desire. And being a student of the game. Absolutely. Please hit the like button, guys. Jimmy Johnson's going to join us in a couple minutes. And then Tony Dungy is going to join us at 4:30. Number 3, A.J. Brown. Guy's the force. He does it each and every single game. And I really, as much as I get on his shit for the way he acts sometimes, he's a great football player. Number 4, Brandon Graham. What a game. He was absolutely awesome last night. And for 1 quarter, I can't remember, 3rd or 2nd, I thought he destroyed it, man. They couldn't block him. Last time I heard Sills this positive was 22. Des the Jew, you're learning. You're learning. It's because you're proving it to me. I'm seeing it. Not hearing it. I'm seeing it. Last year, I didn't see it when you were 10-1. I'm seeing it. Energy, running to the ball. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Barkley. You got flash players here. I mean, you didn't have flash players last year except for AJ. The only flash player you had last year was AJ Brown, where you went, oh, my eyeballs don't lie. This year, you've got numerous players. Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter wasn't playing like this last year, even when they were 10-1. How is this O-line compared to the 95 Cowboys? Why don't we ask Jimmy Johnson? Guys, let's ask Jimmy Johnson this question. Make sure I don't forget it. Does this O-line and Saquon remind you of Emmitt Smith and that O-line that I was there for? Why don't we ask him? Because how he answers that, Jimmy built that whole thing. Okay? Jimmy, does this remind you of what you had in Dallas with Emmitt? An efficient quarterback in Aikman and a great running attack with Emmitt and an O-line. Now, hindsight is that team won 3 Super Bowls. Keep that in perspective. Okay? The man, the architect, the man who built it, the man who won those Super Bowls, he's going to be on in a couple minutes. Why don't we ask him? I'm awake or you. No comparison. How? The fact that they won 3 Super Bowls? Well, wait. RC3. You got to win something first, don't you? I mean, what do you mean no comparison? I'm awake or you? Well, as of right now, there is no comparison. I mean, you haven't won, Dick. That's another great one. Coach, do you see Jalen Carter and Jerome? Let me write that down. O-line and Emmett and Jerome Brown and Jalen Carter. Guy who coached him. What do you guys think? Pretty good guess coming up? Tony Dungy also with Sap. Do you see Sap in Jalen Carter? By the way, Sap said Tony Dungy told Nick Sirianni something a couple weeks ago. I want to know what that was. Why don't we ask him? 4:30. And it had to do with Jalen Carter. Okay? Apologize for what? What's he won? Playing a lot better. No question. Apologize for what? Why don't we run through the tape? I mean, I can't believe how many people in here like giving victory awards to half the race. I mean, that's not how sports works. You don't get a victory lap completing half the race. That's right, Max. Thank you. I was the very first one. Go back and listen. There were shorts that were made on our network. I'm the first one that compared them to Jerome. I'm the very first one. No one else did. I did. I said, that guy's got intangibles like Jerome. Quick hands, quick feet, a tenacity. Okay? Nobody did. I did that on draft night. Okay? Number 5, I got Milton Williams. Milton Williams made a ton of money. Okay? Just admit you were wrong about Dean. I'm not going to ever admit I'm wrong about Dean. We'll see. Still got a season to play. He's looking very good. Still struggles in coverage, but we'll see. Gets to the ball well. Vic is using him great. Rushes the passer a lot better than I thought. They found a role for him. The guy next to him is helping his game. We'll see. It's coming along well. And you know what? It's funny. I talk like Vic. Vic says the same shit about him. It's getting better and better every week. I'm just repeating a little. Vic and I are basically on the same page. I can't help it if you're not. That's a better comment. Dean is improving quickly. Yes, that's right. Okay? Yes. Yes. He's improved. That's a great comment. Absolutely. Yes. Number 6. I do have Nakobe Dean for a game ball. What's Coach Dungy think about the Birds secondary? We'll ask him. By the way, when Jimmy and Coach Dungy come on today, post your questions in the chat room, and I'll ask them. By the way, it has to be a super, okay? It has to be a super. We're going to put a premium on these questions. If there is, I'm going to ask you guys, please, it has to be in a super for the question so I can see them, because I'm in the middle of a conversation, and I'll be able to see the supers and I'll ask him, okay? Well, then don't do it. Hey, I'm awake, are you? Then don't do it. You could do it or not do it. I don't care. Ask Tony Dungy what he thinks of Manning. I've already asked the last time he was on if he thought he underachieved in Indianapolis, and he thought he did. Hey, Sills, I don't understand all you've been doing from the start of the show was phrasing the Eagle, what the F guys, like hit the button best. I'm not sure what the fuck you're talking about. Sills, would you ask Tony about John Randall? He loved John Randall. Hey, Sills, do position coaches get into the Hall of Fame because of the way Stoutland finds a lineman and always puts them in a position to win? Should get some credit. You know, I think they're now starting to do that. Philly Born, thank you guys for the super chats. I appreciate it. Hey, by the way, guys, I was talking about during the interview, but thank you guys right now for supporting the channel. I told you last week, this team reminds me of the 90s Cowboys, nothing against Jalen. But if we have an efficient quarterback like Joe Burrow, we can win a couple of Super Bowls without a doubt. You know, Troy Aikman didn't put a lot of yards up. He played within a system. Okay? Do you think the Eagles can extend Bond and Milton, or will it cost too much? Well, Milton's going to be around $15 million, and so is Bond. If you think Howie's going to do that, and by the way these guys are playing now, I mean, Becton's going to be around 15 to 20 million. Somewhere near 12 to $15 million. Bond's going to be between 12 and 15. And you're probably looking at, for Milton, you're probably looking at 10 million. Aikman never had a completion percentage of 70% a year. Hey, Wishbone, he didn't need it. He had a running attack. Sills, don't like challenging reading. Thanks for the super chat, Flexion. I appreciate it. I'll be fine with letting Becton go. Love him, but it's a business. I trust Keegan to come in like a year or two. I think he's the guy in waiting. I really do. I think he's the guy in waiting. Jimmy's going to join us. We got some great questions lined up already for Coach Johnson. So let me finish. I gave Nakobe my number 6 game ball. Number 7, I got Cooper DeJean. I think he's playing great football, man. He's a good-looking prospect. He's a really good-looking prospect. Extend Milton and let Jordan Davis walk. I don't know. Jordan Davis is not going to get $18 million or $22 million. Xander and John are higher on him. I'm not paying $18 million to a guy who plays 20 reps and is a first and second down player. That's not happening. And Howie will not pay for that. You pay for 3-down players for that kind of money. Okay? By the way, do you think that Howie Roseman would like to have his money back on the kid Huff, knowing that he's a one-dimensional player, thinking that they were going to make him a 3-down player? They paid him $18 million not because he was a one-dimensional player, but because they thought he could be a 3-down guy. Well, now that they found out he's not, they wouldn't pay $18 million for that guy. The Jets knew it, and that's why they let him walk. Okay? I love when the crowd was chanting Coop for both guys, Cooper Kupp and Cooper DeJean. That was pretty cool. Please hit the like button. We appreciate you guys, man. Really. Jimmy Johnson will join us at the bottom of the hour. I got Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is having – what is Sweat doing right now? Let's take a look at this and where he's trending right now. Are you going to let Josh Sweat walk at the end of the year? Are you going to trade him and let him walk at the end of the season? Here's Josh Sweat right now. Josh Sweat is on pace for 11 sacks and almost 60 tackles. 45 tackles and 11 sacks. It'll be the second time in 3 years that he went over 10 sacks. Are you letting him walk out the building? I'm not sure I'm letting that guy walk out the building. Get this. So Josh Sweat's knees are shot. He has 2 to 3 years left. Okay. You're going to let him walk then with 2 to 3 years left? And he's a multiple sack guy? Who do you have to replace him? Who's replacing him? So you're going to lose BG and Sweat? And you're going to feel comfortable being on the perimeter with Huff, Alex Hunt, and Nolan Smith? That I want to see. That I want to see. Free agency? So Howie Roseman is going to go out in the market and spend $25 million for Brian Burns, a guy like that? Is that what you're saying? Seals, when Howie looks at Vaughn, Milton, and Becton, he sees 2/3 and a fourth in comp picks. Correct. He does. He sees the compensation picks for sure. Absolutely. My number 9 game ball is going to Quinyon Mitchell, who's had a really great year. Really has. Okay? Really has. Number 10 is Jalen Hurts. Solid game. No rips. Not great. Not bad. Efficient. Nice play in the back of the end zone. And what I loved, he didn't get in the way, like Aikman. Aikman never got in the way of Emmett. When things were rolling in Dallas, they never got in the way. They let Emmett do his thing. Why would you get in the way of that if no one could stop it? Right? And then I couldn't, Nakobe Dean. I can't be like certain sports talk people and not recognize the kid played well. That's not right, and it's not truthful. He did. He did play well. He was there. He had a good game. I mean, you can't deny when you see Saquon Barkley. And by the way, last night, started the show off like that, and make no mistake about it, that was an iconic game last night for Saquon Barkley. And when we did the pre and post game show last night for the Eagles, there's no question you get out of the way of performances like that. All right, guys, you guys have asked me a lot of great questions, and the architect who put together those Dallas Cowboy teams, can you win a Super Bowl by running the ball, having an efficient quarterback, and the way they ran last night, doesn't it remind a lot of people of what Jimmy did and Coach Johnson did back with the Cowboys when they had that fabulous O-line and an efficient quarterback, great on third downs, Troy Aikman, great coaching and a great defense? Can you win Super Bowls that way? And how good are the Eagles? Let's bring in our friend from the NFL on Fox, Hall of Famer, my coach. Coach, how you doing? I appreciate you doing this, Coach. Thank you. I know you got out west out there, and I thank you so much for doing this for me.
All right, Dan. Good to talk to you.
Coach, what you saw last night and what you're seeing with this Eagle team. Last night, 9th greatest rushing game in NFL history, 255. He goes over 300 total yards. First guy since 77 to do it, and that's Walter Payton. People are asking the question, Coach, it kind of reminds them a little bit of your Cowboy teams where you had a dominant O-line, a tremendous running back, and Barkley's kind of been rejuvenated here, and an efficient quarterback and an improving defense. Can this team win the Super Bowl with this style?
Well, I think they can. You know, don't forget, we had the #1 defense in the league. And so anytime you play great defense, that's going to allow your offense to have that many more chances. And when you've got explosive players on offense, that gives you a chance to win any ball game that you go up against.
Coach, do you think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback?
I think with a great supporting cast, he is. I don't, at times I'm concerned a little bit about his accuracy underneath, but he's an outstanding runner, and he throws a good 50-50 ball, and he's got the receivers to catch those 50-50 balls.
Coach, when they brought in Vic Fangio, I had Coach Wannstedt on with me a couple weeks ago, and scheme coach versus young players. How do you match that up when you're bringing in players to try to fit a scheme? You were the big 43 guy. I know Dave said that, he kind of recommended a 34 to you, and you looked at him and you went, we're going to run the 43. And it was, you guys were 1-15 that year, but you went, no, we're going to stick to what we do here. It just seems, Coach, that Vic Fangio coming in here, he creates roles for these players. Like when you had Charles Haley, you brought him in, and I don't really think that San Francisco used him the way you used him when he was in Dallas. I mean, how important is his scheme, or is it the Jimmies and Joes that make that scheme work?
Well, I think the main thing and the great thing about Vic Fangio is he teaches fundamentals. They're a base defense, and when you don't get too complicated, you're able to make adjustments with your defense. When somebody starts hurting you with certain things, you know how to adjust your defense. The other thing is the more times you can do it, the better you're going to get at it. And so, I think the main thing with Vic and with Philadelphia is they're really playing a fundamentally sound defense, and the players know how to adjust.
Coach, tell me if I'm wrong on this. Being around you for all these years and being around you on the sideline, I don't ever remember you really getting into people's asses when it came to in-game. You got in our asses Monday through Saturday, and you were a guy that allowed their coaches to coach, and then you got on the coaches and all of us Monday through Saturday, and you corrected the mistakes then, and you allowed the coaches. When you see Nick Sirianni and the way that he coaches, do you see a little bit of that because allowing the assistant coaches to coach? And was that your system on how you looked at each game day? Because, you handled timeouts, you handled the possession of the clock and all that, and how you handled that. But it really came down to your assistants having and being empowered and coaching their players.
Well, the critical time for coaches is throughout the week in preparation. If you have the players prepared in the right way, then on Sundays or, whenever you're playing the game, you make the situational adjustments and you try to be upbeat and positive with your players and give them confidence. But the preparation is the main thing throughout the week. And that's when the assistant coaches and the head coach motivates those players to practice hard and to prepare themselves in the right way. And then, like I said, on game day, it's situational decisions.
Coach, I'll say this, couple last questions here for you, Coach. I made this comment on draft day, and I haven't seen a player, and I haven't said this about a player coming out of the draft, I don't think ever really until this year. I compared Jalen Carter to Jerome, and I said this. I saw it on draft day: quick feet, quick hands, tenacity, dominant at the point of attack. You're seeing him take on double teams, splitting them, really having kind of a mindset. And when I see him, Jalen Carter, we're going to have Tony Dungy at 4:30, and Tony obviously coached Sapp. And I guess there was a conversation, what he told Jalen Carter a couple weeks ago, but he's really picked his game up. Do you see a little bit of Jerome in what you're watching with Jalen Carter?
Yeah, of course, as you know, Dan, Jerome was an extremely talented player, and Carter's the same way. The only restriction on Carter is Carter himself. Yep. As long as he is motivated and as long as he is given great effort and prepares himself in the right way, then he's going to be a dominant player against any team that he faces.
Coach, when did you know from the 1-15 year that you were heading in the right direction, not the next year, but the year after, that you thought you had a Super Bowl team? Because this team's really young. 2 new coordinators on each side, Kellen Moore on the offensive side. Then you turn around, you have Vic coming in, and you have a lot of new players. Cooper DeJean, you have Quinyon Mitchell back there, free agent, and Zach Bond. When did you know, Coach, that first Super Bowl season, I think we got something special here? Or did that play out all the way? Because Michael was on a couple weeks ago, also said, we really didn't know how great we were until we beat San Francisco. That's when we knew. Does it evolve like that, Coach?
Well, I think it's a matter of just a steady building. That first year, we actually made some moves. Had we not made some of those moves, we could have won 3 or 4 games. But we made moves that first year that was going to allow us to get draft picks and players in the future years. And we steadily built that football team. And I think Michael is right. We knew we had the Super Bowl won when we beat the 49ers out there in San Francisco, because we felt like they were the best team in football at that time. But that particular day, we beat them at their place. And once we won that game, then we knew we were going to beat Buffalo in the next ball game. And so we knew we had the Super Bowl. But I don't know that anybody can, 100% sure say, hey, we've got a Super Bowl team. But I think there's 4 or 5 that can say, if we play our best, we'll have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And right now there's 4 or 5 teams out there that can do it.
2 last ones, Coach. Detroit or Philadelphia? Who would you be leaning to right now if you had to pick the better team right now in the NFC?
That's a hard one. I love what Dan Campbell has done with Detroit. And I look at his football team, and I don't see any flaws. Obviously, losing Hutchinson was a big blow to them. But they have a great football team on both sides of the ball. I love the way Dan coaches. They're a physical football team. And, when you've got a physical football team, you can beat anybody. As far as Philadelphia, as far as pure talent, I think I would match Philadelphia's talent with anybody in the league. So those 2 have to be the favorite. But we still got a lot of games to be played. And, in this league, once you have some injuries, if you have injuries to 2 or 3 key players, that can affect you and how you're going to play, and if you have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. So if those 2 teams stay healthy, either one of them would have a shot.
Absolutely. And the Eagles just lost last night, unfortunately. Brandon Graham last night.
And he had a heck of a game last night as well.
Absolutely. All right, Coach, I'm going to do something here in closing here that you used to do. How about them Hurricanes? hey, Coach, man. I mean, Mario's done a great job recruiting. I mean, they had a slip up against Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech's not an awful team. I mean, I'm a voter on the top 25, Coach, and I'm like, how does Notre Dame get ahead? They had a horrible loss to Northern Illinois, at home. They're 6-5. So, again, maybe that's just me and Notre Dame still, Coach, going back to the day with us, but you got to be proud of what Mario's doing down there at Miami right now. First 10-win season in a couple of years, second in only 21 years.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Mario. He's an outstanding recruiter, and that's the whole key to college football. In college football, it's recruiting, and pro football, it's coaching. And I'm a little disappointed in Miami's defense in that they're giving up some explosive plays. But I'm really proud of the players that he's brought in. I love Cam Ward, and I think they've got an outstanding football team. It's going to be interesting to watch them play. They got to beat Syracuse, and that won't be easy on the road. And of course, then if they can beat Syracuse, and then they're going to have SMU after that, be another difficult one. But I'm wishing them all the luck in the world and keep those players healthy and playing at their best.
Tony White was on a couple of weeks ago.
I saw Tony on there. He's a trip.
So I go like, just holy cow. I go, I've got to tell you what Coach said. Coach Wannstedt's over his shoulder. I go, Jimmy said that the best coach, the most important coach that he has on his coaching staff is the O-line coach like they have in Philly with Jeff Stoutland. And Dave looks down and goes, he said that?
Well, yeah, my cohorts on Fox NFL Sunday, Howie Long and Michael Strahan, disagree with me, but I think that's the one position, Coach, that's more important than the players themselves. Normally those players are the ones that are making plays, but an offensive line coach is extremely valuable, and he can get that group playing well. And sometimes they may not be the most talented, but as long as they're in coordination, they can be very effective.
Coach, have a safe trip back. I appreciate you doing this for me. You always find time. God bless, Coach. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Okay, good talking with you, Dan.
You bet. Jimmy Johnson from Fox NFL, and we really appreciate him coming aboard with us there. Hit the like button. Jerome was a special player, and you see some of the intangibles, okay? You really do. You see some of the intangibles, and Jimmy, before he took off to go back to Almirada, said that he would do it. He's in a hotel. By the way, he's going to make an appearance each and every single month from now on, all the way to the Super Bowl. So we're going to get Coach Johnson on with us. We're really looking forward to that each and every single month. All right. The MVP conversation that got heated with Xander, myself, and John McMullen. Can Barkley win the Most Valuable Player Award? We're going to hit on that. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. All supers go to the top. By the way, give me a running count where we are right now when it comes to the like button right now. Where are we on that like number right now? Tony Dungy is also going to join us at 4:30 Eastern, and we're going to catch up with our friend Xander. That'll be at the top of the 5 o'clock. All right, 352. You think we can get to 500 today? What do you think, Xander? You think we can get to 500 today? Let's see if we can get to 500. Hit the like button. Keep it here. National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills, please hit the like button. Over 1,000 people watching the program on all platforms right now. We appreciate you guys. Please hit that like button. Tony Dungy is going to join us at 4:30. We just had Jimmy Johnson on. We look forward to having him on each and every single month. Thank you very much, Coach, for doing that for us. We asked him about the Cowboys and the comparisons. Hey, look, again, you can hear it in his voice about Jalen Hurts too. He thinks he's good with a lot of great players around him. I don't really think Jimmy thinks he's an elite quarterback. But he's elite when he has all the components around him. Again, I'm not, today is not really a day to talk about him. He was okay. Okay? I mean, but again, we're talking about the 9th greatest performance in NFL history. Even A.J. Brown got dwarfed by it. It's not a rip. Okay? It's not. Somebody was doing something iconic. And they were doing something special. Here, just to show you. Adrian Peterson, 07, 297. Jamal Lewis, 295, 03. Jerome Harrison, I think he played for the Browns. 2009, 286. Corey Dillon, 278, Cincinnati, 2000. Walter Payton, 275, 1977. OJ, 273, 1976 against the Steelers on Monday night. Alexander, 266, 01. Jamal Charles, Kansas City, 250 in 2010. Barkley, last night, 255. Jonathan Taylor, Colts, 253. And DeMarco Murray, Cowboys, 253 in 2011. So you're talking about an historic night last night for the kid. I mean, before we get to the MVP conversation, by the way, I have a vote in one of the MVPs that matters. Okay? I think these are the 4 best teams. All Super Chats go to the top. These are the 4 teams that I look at right now starting to separate themselves in the NFC. Detroit, Philly, Minnesota, and Green Bay. And I look at 2 of the 4 and I go, I don't know. Minnesota, Green Bay. I mean, Sam Darnold, do I trust him in a divisional game or a conference title game? Philadelphia fans, do you trust Sam Darnold? This is going to be interesting. I can't wait to hear this. Do you trust Sam Darnold? Bob says no. Jay says no. Sue says no. Flexen says no. Couple more. Harrison Evans says no. After yesterday, no. Devin, why? He threw for over 300 yards. So then you must not have really believed when Foles took over for the MVP. Okay. Of all places to say no, you must have all said it. All of you said no about Foles taking over when Wentz went down. Interesting. So you had no faith when he first initially took over. I'm awake, or you says there's no comparison. Yes, there's a fucking comparison. That guy was playing MVP football. And when you lose an MVP, you think Nick Foles is going to win you a Super Bowl? How fucking stupid and what a liar. Nobody on the planet thought that guy was going to win you a Super Bowl after the Super Bowl MVP was lost for the season. Give me a break. Give me a break. Lying. I'm awake or you're a liar. Okay? Liar. Did Sam Darnold have a 27 TD, 2 INT season like Foles? No, but what he's doing right now is he's having a better season than Foles ever had. He's 8-2. Or is he 8-2 or is he 9-2? He's 8-2 right now. And he's been the starter on that football team the entire season. Foles wasn't a starter that entire season when they won the Super Bowl. I mean, this guy's doing it from the beginning. Okay? Get this. Yeah, Jack, I'm sure you were highly confident that Foles would win a Super Bowl in 17. Hey, listen, you asked me to be honest. Why can't you? I thought it was over. Don't forget our starting LT went down too. That's right. Your starting LT, and if I'm not mistaken, Samuel, didn't you have a linebacker go down that year too? Right? Okay. Here's twist. I never thought we'd win a Super Bowl. So why can't Sam Darnold do it? By the way, I would say this. What's the record? Are they 8-2? Sam Darnold's done something right. Let's see what Sam Darnold's doing right now and what he's doing with his football team. You guys don't think Sam Darnold could do it. By the way, I'm not really sold on him either. I'm not going to pretend here. Oh, they're 9-2. So Sam Darnold has led a team, Minnesota, to a 9-2 record. Okay? Let's see here. And you guys have scored in 11 games, 296 points. The Minnesota Vikings have scored 274 points. And you guys have given up 199 in points. Minnesota's given up 274. That's outstanding. The Eagles in point differential. Let's take a look at Sam and see what he's doing and what he's on pace for right now. Wow, what a year. So Sam Darnold right now is on pace for 4,200 yards and 32 touchdowns with a 101 quarterback rating and 68% completion percentage. You don't think that guy can win a Super Bowl? He's going to throw for 4,200 yards. Really? 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns. And by the way, it's not just all him. Here's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, the running back, is currently on pace himself and having a great year. He's on pace for 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 450 yards receiving, and 50 catches. He's having a great year. Just saying, if it can happen for Foles, it can happen to him. Detroit is too much for them. Okay, I'm not saying that Detroit's not better. It's not what I'm saying here. It's not what I'm saying. By the way, a couple injuries, that'll be different. I know Darnold was the number 1 overall pick, but he has never had to play with real expectations. No, he hasn't. The expectations for him are growing. Foles was a quick hit, and before we knew it, and we were there. I got it. I know. He did. I got the 26-2 season. That helps a lot. I get it. Christopher, thank you for the super chat. All supers go to the top. And please, guys, we're trying to get to 500 likes today. Hit the like button. How many yards did Dak throw for last year? That's not all that matters. I watched Sam play live. He doesn't have a clutch bone in his body. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, do you think a guy like that could get to a Super Bowl? If Nick Foles can, he can. Okay? He can. Absolutely. Tony Dungy is going to join us at 4:30. But am I sold on him? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to sit here and say it can't happen because you don't know. Right now, it's about playing good football and staying healthy. You just lost Brandon Graham. By the way, before I get to the Barkley conversation, the loss of Brandon Graham is enormous. It's an absolutely enormous loss. Sills wrenched me up. Also, Foles. I don't make that call, man. What do you think I look like here? The loss of Brandon Graham is enormous. Kelsey gone, Fletcher gone, now Brandon Graham's gone. Enormous. It's a big loss. He was not only was he just playing football for them and giving them depth, but he was playing exceptional football. That's a big, 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 crippling loss. And by the way, Aiden Hutchinson, do you understand that this is going to look at the 49ers? They got crushed by 28 points last night. Why? It's not because they're not a good roster. It's because half the roster showed up at Lambeau. You lose a couple players, it's over. It's absolutely over. Quan CMC. Any playoff team could get to a Super Bowl and win it. Don't believe me? Go ask the 18-0 Tom Brady when they lost to Eli Manning and that 8-8 Giants team. Absolutely. Records don't matter when you're in the game. Wrench me up is wild. Y'all Diddy people got to chill. Flexen, thank you, my friend. Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you for the supers. They go a long way for us. I thought Jared Verse made a comment last night. That was cool. He goes like this. I've never seen a running back like that before in my life. Obviously talking about Barkley. I ain't never seen anything like that. That was some performance last night. I mean, those enormous breakaway runs were like Barry Sanders. Thank you, John, for the number. We're almost at 400. We got a great shot at getting over 500 today. Guys, please hit it. Thank you, Twiz. You had the loss of, what are you going to do now? There's really nobody on the open market that you're going to go out there and sign to replace Brandon Graham. So what are you going to do? Are you going to play more 5-man front? Sills, why do you hate giving Hurts and Saquon credit? I don't hate. What are you talking about? Who's got ripped today? Who got ripped today between Barkley and Hurts? Who got ripped? How can you rip anybody from that game last night? You crushed them. What are you talking about? Where in the world did you hear me rip anyone? Sills can't stop seeing Aaron Donald playing with Carter. You could teach those kids, Carter and Davis, a lot. He's on the Rams cap as a dead money. Oh, he is? If that's the case, he's still on there for dead money, which must be a signing bonus. I don't know if they would allow him to play with the Philadelphia Eagles and allow him to have a conversation. I know that he's on the retirement list. I don't know how that works. If he can just come out of retirement like that and sign with any other team. Because if he's still being paid by the Rams and he's still on that cap, now Todd Gurley was on the cap for the Rams for years because of deferred money when he was playing with the Atlanta Falcons. I'll have to check into that. Okay? I'll have to check into that. John Lynch is not getting fired. They're not firing John Lynch. They're not firing Kyle Shanahan. That's not going to happen. Okay? The Bartolo family and the York family are not firing those two guys. You wouldn't want to go back to Trent Baalke and what? Chip Kelly. They're not doing that. So, yeah, I mean, what do they do? I would do this. I would move Carter over and I would put Milton. I would put Davis. And I would put Carter. And I would have a 5 front. I would have a 5 front. Josh Sweat. And I might rotate like Xander suggested last night. And we saw it in the game last night. A little bit of Zach Bond over on the weak side. And have him out there on the end. But then again, I don't want to take away from the inside because that could affect Kobe or Kobe Dean. Then you become lighter at linebacker. You don't really have a lot of depth at linebacker, and you don't have a lot of depth at edge. Quality depth. Experienced depth. He left $40 million on the table. Tom tried Tampa Bay, said no. Fletcher, do you call, or Sam, do you call up Fletcher Cox? I don't know how that helps you on the edge. Are you saying put Fletcher in there and keep Milton outside and keep him out there in the 7? Does Fletcher want to do that, though? By the way, if I was Fletcher, give me $15 million, I'll do it. I guarantee you they probably made that conversation to him and called him and asked him what he's thinking. Christian McCaffrey's knees couldn't last. He had one good season, then he was hurt. He's so overrated. Are you trying to tell me that Christian McCaffrey had only one fucking good year in his career? What a stupid comment. I mean, you can't be any more of a fucking idiot when you say McCaffrey, and he had one good year. So Christian McCaffrey has only had one good year. Is that what you're saying? How about this? Saquon Barkley, until this year, never had a year like Christian McCaffrey has ever had. Ever. Not remotely close. Dude, McCaffrey's career is superior. Superior to Saquon Barkley's. And that's a giant issue. Okay, that's a New York Giant issue. Yeah, like here's McCaffrey in 2018, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 107 catches, 867 yards receiving. In 2019, 1,387 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns, 118 receiving catches, 105 in yards. He was a 1,000 guy in one season. 22, 1,200 yards rushing, 108 catches, 780 yards receiving. Last year, 1,500 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns, 564 receiving yards on 70 catches. Don't ever put McCaffrey and Barkley in the same conversation because they just weren't. And someone help me out. Who was McCaffrey's? What teams were he on? Are you McCaffrey? Wait a minute. He had what from scrimmage? Barkley had 2,000 yards his rookie season. I know that was probably his best year, so he may have. So let's take a look at that. Barkley's rookie year, he had 1,300 yards and 700 receiving, had 91 catches. That's his best year as a ball player until this year. That's his best season. Most yards he ever gained was 1,300 yards and 22. Now, again, those are shitty Giant teams. And right now, he's averaging 126 yards a game. So that leads us right into the topic of MVP. So let's get there. Guys, please hit the like button. Can Saquon Barkley win the Most Valuable Player award? Can he win the Most Valuable Player award? Let's take a look at his numbers where he is with Hurts. Will Jalen Hurts hurt his ability to win the MVP because you have 2 stars on the team? Same thing with Baltimore. You have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry there. That always cancels out. Like a year ago when you had Purdy and McCaffrey. That hurt those 2 guys' chances because some people like the quarterback and some people like the running back. So last person to do it was Adrian Peterson. Their stats are comparable, Sills. McCaffrey. No, they're not. No, they're not. Are you trying to say, Paul, that he's had as many catches in his career as McCaffrey? I think you need to use a calculator. Let's see here. Here's the numbers here for the Eagles. All right. Rushing. Jalen Hurts is on pace for 20 rushing touchdowns. Excuse me. I'll take that back. He's on pace for around 16 touchdowns rushing. Okay, he's at 11 now. That will take away from his MVP. But if he gets 2,500 yards, would they give it to him over a quarterback like Josh Allen? Personally, right now, when I turn my ballot in this week, it'll be Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley. By the way, I've had Barkley on my top 5 list for MVP all season. So I would put Allen, Barkley, Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry. And if you want to put Justin Jefferson for the 5th guy, those would be my top 5. No, Jamar Chase, excuse me. Jamar Chase, those would be probably my top 5. And maybe 6 outside would be Joe Burrow. But his team stinks, so he's not going to get it. Okay? If he breaks Dickerson's record of 2105, Dickerson did it in 16 weeks when he ran for 2105, his second year in the league. His first year in the league, I believe he ran for 1880. One of the greatest starts to an NFL career was Eric Dickerson. Dickerson went for 1880. Then the next year he went for 2105. His first 2 years, he had 4,000 rushing yards, did Dickerson. I don't think he can win the MVP. He would have to keep this pace up. And if you get into that Giant game and you've clinched, are you going to play him? Those last 2 games of the year, how much are you going to play him in the Carolina game? Still stop. Barkley has already almost surpassed his rushing yardage of his best year. I know, with 6 games left. You can't be serious. This is where Christopher doesn't get it. He already has more career rushing yards than CMC. Let me go here. Whatever, guy. We're talking about a back that was complete. Let's go here. So let's take a look at the Eagles. And let's look at their schedule. So here's why he won't. I'll show you why he will not win the Most Valuable Player award. After the Raven game, you going to play him in Carolina? How long are you playing him in Carolina? Trust Nick a little more to manage games. He was horrible last night. Look at this guy. He was horrible last night. No running back has a better season than OJ in 73. That was 14 games when he went for 2,003. How many quarters are you going to play him in the Carolina game? I'm not talking about MVP. I'm talking about you saying, okay, I don't believe he did have a better career. Guys, done something only 3 players have ever done in pro football history. 100 catches, 1,000 yards receiving, and 1,000 yards rushing. How much are you going to play him in the Dallas game? How much are you going to play him in the New York game? As you get ready for the playoffs. How much are you going to play him? How much are you going to play him? You're not going to. I wouldn't. I need him in the postseason. Like you guys say. Who gives a shit about the MVP? So the MVP conversation is almost a dumb one in a way. He's not going to win it because they're going to rest him. By the way, like the MVP award? Well, wait a minute. How can you contradict yourselves? So he'll get into the Hall of Fame. Well, I'm saying he won't. You think an MVP award would help? You think an MVP award helps Adrian Peterson? About his legacy? He didn't win a Super Bowl. So which is it? You think he's an MVP? Well, he's not getting an MVP what he has now. So which is it? You want to reward him with a most valuable player award? What if you come up short and you don't win a Super Bowl? So you not only denied him the MVP award, but you denied the opportunity at doing something historic. Seals, their correlation between Henry and Saquon raising the quarterback market and then getting more respect for MVP votes. I agree with that. That's a great take, see. I never cared about the MVP, Seals. I know you don't, because you don't have a legacy. People who talk like that don't have legacies. When someone goes like this, hey, that's bullshit, that stuff. That's because you don't have a legacy. People who talk like flexing there don't have a legacy when it comes to sports. So it doesn't matter to you, I know. But when you have a legacy that he has put out there for people to see, and those will look at a career, it matters. So when you don't have a legacy, Flexen, it's easy to say that. I don't give a shit about that. I know you don't. It's okay. You don't have a legacy of an NFL player like that. Flexen, no disrespect, dude. But that's not how NFL players talk. They look at Pro Bowls. They look at Hall of Fame. They look at how they're gauged and how people look at them. Look at wide receivers. Every single day, they talk about catches and targets. You think they talk about rings? They talk about catches and targets and who's getting paid. Fans are the only one to talk about that shit. Yeah, I'm not flexing. I'm not right. Good, I'm not. After Lurie sold 2 minority stakes, the Eagles are valued at $8.1 billion. Not bad for a guy who bought the team for $195 million. Okay? Not true, Sills. Saquon didn't care to break his own rushing mark to let the young guys eat. Okay. So, again, like I said, what's the conversation about MVP then? He won't get it because they'll rest him. He's not going to have the numbers, nor is he going to have the votes because they're going to give it to some stupid quarterback because it's a biased award. Now, the award I think he's going to slam dunk No, I'll take that back. I don't think he's going to slam dunk it. I think this weekend will tell us a lot. Where's Derrick Henry right now when it comes to rushing? He's got a game tonight, correct? So he's got a game tonight. Let's see where Derrick Henry is. Derrick Henry's at 1185. It's 6 yards a carry. And he's got a ball game tonight. And he is on pace for 1,900 yards himself and 20 touchdowns. You don't think he's going to be inspired tonight to go for about 150? That'll put him back over the lead in the rushing race. And then this weekend, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Jalen Hurts, you have Saquon Barkley, and you have Derrick Henry on the same field. Dude, is that game a national, like NBC game or a Thursday night ball game? Holy shit. How is that? That's got to be the game of the week, man. What a football game. You got the Eagles, and it's on CBS ain't giving that game up for nothing. It's a 125, it's a 425 game, East Coast time on December 1st. Holy shit. Dude, that might be the game of the year. Okay? Guys, please hit the like button. We're almost at 500. Thank you. Hey, by the way, Tony Dungy is going to join us. That'll be at 4:30 Eastern time. Dude, 4:30 CBS. What a game. What an absolute game that is going to be. A huge game. Absolutely. Abe, Sills, would you say the team seems to play on the same rhythm, or you still see some buffers? When you run the ball the way they're running it, and they're being efficient in the passing game, and like Jimmy Johnson said last hour, the defense is what's really keeping this thing settled with rhythm. Look, I think every time they drop back, I gasp. I don't just keep handing the ball off. Even the players went to the coaching staff during the game and told them, let's get back to our identity. Let's run the ball. Players know what they are. I think sometimes the coaches are fighting it. But this coaching staff this year is doing and listening better than the last year coaching staff. I think last year's coaching staff was stubborn. This year's coaching staff is not stubborn. You know what makes Vic a really great coach? He doesn't really look at the player's name on the back of the jersey. He puts the guy out there with the best skill set at the position that gives them the best. Whatever you are, a rookie, a veteran, a free agent, anything. He puts you out there. Whether you're making $18 million, get this. If you can't, here is completely the difference between Vic Fangio and most coordinators in the NFL. How many coordinators would do this? Well, I'm going to play a $1.5 million a year guy, and I'm going to start him over Devin White, who they gave $4 million to. And how many coaches would do that without fully knowing that the general manager is going to ask you, why are you playing him? Is he that much more significant than the guy we brought in and gave the money to? That GM's got to answer to his owner about the money they gave out. Vic went like this. I'm playing the best guy. And how many times was he asked the question, did you know Zach Bond was going to be this good? You know what he said? No. But he learns fast. That was his response. He learns fast. I was like, Jesus. So when Vic's watching film, you know what he's watching? For false steps, tenacity, smarts. He's watching on film, spacing, tackling in space. Game is spread out. Got to have linebackers with speed who can go from sideline to sideline, who gives me the best available. It's one of the reasons why Trotter's not playing. He has no speed to cover the field. You see, Trotter's not playing because of his lack of speed. And in today's NFL, you've got to play in space. And the game is spread out more. He'll struggle to get on the field because of his lack of speed running a 4.8. Now, again, you play in a phone booth and you play on first and second down, that's okay. But you don't play the game. Linebackers today in the NFL don't play in the NFL with first and second down guys like Javon Kirkland like they used to back in the day. That's why he's not getting on the field, because he's not fast enough. Okay? He's just not fast enough. Bond and Jacoby can give you sideline to sideline because of their speed and how quick they are. There is one thing that is completely different than last year's defense. They're fast getting to the ball. They're better in spacing when it comes to tackling. They do a nice job at getting from sideline to sideline. It's a faster unit. It's actually a faster unit than the 22 unit. Here, let's compare 22 unit to the 2024. Are they better inside? They're not deeper inside. Or is there more talent? I don't think so. I think there was more talent. If I were to give the edge, I'd give the edge to the 22 team because of Fletcher, Sue, Linville, and Hargrave. The group itself is better. Carter is better than all of them, but you're not as talented as you were in 22 in the middle, because you had depth and experience that was all over the place. So that 22 group they get the nod because you had rotation pieces. Okay? You have completely rotation pieces inside in the middle in 22. So I would say that defensive tackles, 2022. Linebackers. You had a guy with 160 in TJ, and you got another guy who's right there at 160. And Zach. Is Zach better than TJ? I think they both struggle in pass coverage. I think Zach is a little better of a pass rusher. I think he gets to open space better than TJ. I think Zach Bond is having a better season this year than what TJ Edwards did in 22. So I would probably go with him. I would take him over TJ Edwards, who had a better season. Actually, Abe goes like this: TJ ain't no Bond. Bond has 1 year, dude, under his belt. I wouldn't give him a confirmation that he's one of the top linebackers in the NFL. That comes with experience and playing consecutive years doing that, not just doing it one season. Not just doing it one or a couple seasons like Devin White, who fell off the planet. Okay? I mean, that doesn't work like that. Guys like Roquan Smith have done it for 5 years, 6 years. People like Fred Warner, who's not playing excellent this year, has done that for 4 or 5 years. So to sit here and throw that indictment over on Bond and say, well, he's better. He's having a better year. Okay. He took, now Nakobe over Kaiser White. That's probably compatible, except for this. Nakobe's rushing the passer better than White did. And I think he fills the gap better. So in theory, I would probably take the 24 linebackers, which I never thought at the beginning of the year I would be saying. I would take the 2024 linebackers over the Super Bowl NFC Championship team of 22. I would never have said that in September. Okay? I never have said that. So linebackers, 2024. Corners. You had 2 Pro Bowl corners in 22, Bradbury and Slay. And now you have Slay and Quinion. The 22 corners were better than the 24 because Slay is up and down being in the lineup. Quinion is better than Bradbury was in 22, in my opinion. All the money you spent on the offense, nobody should be surprised that he's having this type of season. It should be expected. Yeah, well, again, no, I did not. Okay, you're right. You're right on Barkley. But that, no, not that. You're right. He should be around 1,500 yards. But that, what I saw and what I'm seeing, no. That he's having a historic year. Right now, he's on pace for 2105. I mean, no. You know, and I get it. Spend a lot of dough. There's a lot of money in the O-line. There's a lot of money at the perimeter. A lot of money in the quarterback. But not that. You're Lord's grace. You're not wrong. Tony Dungy's going to join us in a couple minutes here. Okay? I mean, I would take the 22 corners. Safeties. Boy, Reed's really playing great. And Gardner Johnson, believe it or not, has actually picked this game up. And I'm going to put Cooper in there in that slot because that's more like a safety than a corner. That Epps was really great that year, underrated. He was really good that year. I'm going to go 24. Close. Remember something. A secondary finished second in the league. Pass coverage. Edge. I'm not even going to debate it. 22. It's not close. BG had 11. Reddick had 16 and a half. Who's the other guy out there? Sweat had 11. Okay. 22 edge were sensational. So if you're looking at the defense right now, edge goes 22. DTs go 22. Linebackers go 2024. Now, I'll say this with the 22 DTs. Carter's better than everyone, but the group itself, the DTs were better. Linebackers, I'm taking the 24 group. The corners, 22. And the safeties, 24. So, at 22 defense, man, experience, a lot of sacks, a lot of pressure, did great in coverage, had a guy lead the NFL in interceptions. Get this. Crowley doesn't listen as always. I never said that. I said the group. Here, Crowley, let's see how dumb or smart you are. Are you trying to tell me the guys that you have in there now, okay, that you would go down that line of 2022? All right. You know, it was great asking Coach Jimmy Johnson last hour what he thought of the offensive line and Saquon Barkley. And do you see comparisons between that Cowboy team that ran the ball, played lights out defense? And did you see comparisons? He says, if you have a quarterback that can get it done, Jimmy was like last hour, yes. Well, little birdie told me, and we had a conversation with a friend of ours. Obviously, Warren Sapp, I'm wearing the U here, so Coach knows what's going on here. So somebody told me that somebody had a little conversation with Nick Sirianni about this certain DT that the Eagles have. His name is Jalen Carter. And I got to tell you, before I bring Coach Dungy on, let me show this to you. I played next to Jerome Brown, and I said this on draft day. The characteristics of Jerome Brown, hands, quickness, feet, tenacity, he reminds me of my teammate, Jerome Brown. Let's bring in a coach who, without a doubt, built one of the great defenses. And I'll never forget, listening to John Lynch. Coach, John Lynch said this when you guys were 0-8. Man, Coach, I just don't know. And you went, what are you talking about? I feel you're this close. I get it. Coach, welcome aboard. I appreciate you coming here with us. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thank you, Dan. And you made some really, really good points. Number one, that comparison of Jalen Carter to Warren Sapp, same type of guy, powerful, quick, tenacious, disruptive. Yes, and he's got it going, and he has been the catalyst for this Philadelphia defense in their resurgence here.
Coach, without going into exactly what you said to Nick about him, I mean, Buddy Ryan had to tell Jerome, hey, it's about being special. It's not just about being good and showing up, on Sundays. You've got to assert yourself. And Jerome came back and told me, he goes, hey, don't be common. Try to make yourself great. And that kind of changed his fortunes. He goes, you're playing next to Reggie. Don't let Reggie be the guy. You have to be the guy. Is that kind of the context on what you were talking to Nick about on elevating his game? Because he has elevated it, and he's playing lights out football, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, he did. We talked about that. He said, I've got a special talent here. This young man can be the best defensive tackle in football, and he is a lot of the times. How do I get him to be that guy all the time, every down, every play, every game? And we talked about some different things. We talked about Warren. I didn't have to talk to Warren that way because he had that drive. He wanted to be the best. So for him, it was just technique and what do we do and how do we implement things. But I'm not sure what Nick said to Jalen about 6 weeks ago, but whatever he said, he needs to bottle it and sell it.
Coach, this team is kind of built in the way that you love a team to be built. You were a believer in running the ball, point of the attack when it came to your O-line, especially up front. Monty having that great defense along with your input and all those great assistant coaches you had as you guys built that defense on the Tampa side, and then obviously what you did in Indianapolis. But, I mean, Coach, can you win a Super Bowl when you have a quarterback that's being efficient like Jalen and then just running the ball, running it 48 times in today's NFL, having a good defense? Right now they're at the top of the charts in almost every metric there is. Can you win a Super Bowl with that style of play in today's NFL?
Yes, you absolutely can. And the reason you can is because they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're dominating the line of scrimmage up front offensively, getting those holes for Saquon, protecting their quarterback, and they're doing it on defense where you have to really deal with that front seven before you get anything going. Now, the thing that they've got that people underestimate and why I think they can win a Super Bowl is if it gets dicey, if you need big plays, they can produce them. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, they're guys who can go for 100 yards apiece in a big game if they need it. And, last night we saw a great example. Yes, Saquon's running well. They've got the game under control, but they throw 7 balls to A.J. Brown. He's got 6 catches for 100+. They didn't need the touchdowns. If they needed them, he could have delivered them. They've got explosiveness when they need it. So I think they're right there.
Coach, do you think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback?
I do. I think he's a leader. I think his team believes in him. He can make plays with his legs. You have to defend a lot of things with Jalen. Just like Patrick Mahomes, you've got to defend the original play. You've got to defend the scramble. You can't just chase down Saquon Barkley every time there's run action because you've got to defend Hurts on the possibility of keeping the ball on the zone reads. And he is not turning the football over right now. He's playing efficient. He's playing sound. And there's no question he's the leader in that locker room. So, yes, I think he is elite.
Coach, I had great conversations with Monty Kiffin, and you're the architect of cover 2. And if you don't have linebackers like Derek Brooks or like Pittsburgh had with Mike Tomlin when he had Ryan Shazier, who was another one of those seam-type linebackers that can play in space, The game is so much in space today, Coach. You know, the old style Levon Kirkland guy, that guy's not in that football field any longer. How important was it for Vic? Because that seems to be his forte. Coach, if you remember right back in the day, he had Vaughn Johnson, he had Sam Mills, he had Ricky Jackson all on that Saints defense. That was one of the greatest linebacking cores of all time. And now you're seeing Zach Bond, who came from the Saints from nowhere. Kobe Dean has picked his game up. Coach, is it scheme or is it the Jimmies and Joes, in your opinion, that make it? Because he's transformed this defense overnight, Coach, into being the number one defense in the league.
They've got some really good players. Now, it's both. You have to be sound. You have to motivate those guys. You have to put them in position to be who they are. But great offense, great defense comes from having great players. So, yes, Tampa 2 was great because we had Warren Sapp and John Lynch and Derek Burks and Rondé Barber. And it was great in Pittsburgh when we had 5 Hall of Famers on defense, too. So, yes, I can come into your office and say, Dan, I've got this great scheme, hire me, and I'm going to put John Smith and Bill Jones in there. And you say, why doesn't it look as good? Well, yeah, you got to get those players. But part of it is finding the players that fit what you want to do. And I think that's what Philadelphia has done.
Coach, if you had to flip a coin and land on one thing, would you take Detroit or would you take Philadelphia right now in the NFC? What team do you like right now?
Right now, the way they're playing, I would take Philadelphia because of that defensive front. Now, you put Aiden Hutchinson back in Detroit, and it's a different thing. Detroit is explosive on offense, and they can score points and put points up. But Philadelphia is explosive too. We've seen Saquon, and we saw him go 70 yards twice last night. So they can score that way and put up points. But Philadelphia right now, the way they're controlling the front with their defensive front seven, I like where they are. If Hutchinson was still playing, to me, it'd be a different story.
Coach, do you agree that now we're starting to see the separation, probably Green Bay, Minnesota, I would guess, and also Philadelphia and Detroit in the NFC. But, Coach, this is going to come down to playing consistent ball and the war of attrition, because last night the Eagles lost Brandon Graham to a tricep tear, so that's a major – he was killing it last night too. I mean, PG's 37 years old, and that guy found a fountain of middle age or something, Coach, because he was killing it last night. But is that what this comes down to? It's really going to come down to Howie Roseman and how much depth that he has put on this team, especially when you're in this time of the year.
It is, and you've got to be fortunate. You've got to have things go right for you, and you need everybody down the stretch, and you've got to stay healthy. Kansas City has had some catastrophic injuries on their offense. Maybe some of those guys will get back. If they get Pacheco back and Rashee Rice is able to come back at the end of the year, they'll be looking much different. You want to stay healthy. You want to keep your guys engaged and keep playing, and you have to hope that you don't get that catastrophic injury. Our team in 2003 in Indianapolis, Dallas Clark was a rookie and playing well for us. He got hurt right around Thanksgiving. We didn't have him in the playoffs, and we missed that. Okay, in 2006, he goes down the same way, same weekend, right after Thanksgiving, and we're thinking, oh, my goodness, ACL, there he goes. Well, the doc calls us right before we're going to put him on IR, says, no, I think we can just rehab him. He comes back and has a monster playoff. We don't win that Super Bowl without Dallas Clark. So we're a little fortunate there. And you've got to be healthy. Got to have all your guys coming down the stretch.
I remember, Coach, too, a couple last questions for you, Coach. I remember, those defenses that you had. Dwight Freeney's from Connecticut. We know each other very well and big fans of him. And, he said this, man, every time Bob Sanders, man, went out, it was just different secondary. But Bob played with such a tenacity that, he was always – but, Coach, so when you lose a guy like that, like you're saying there, it just throws off the rhythm of your defense or it throws off the rhythm of your offense. So, again, like you said, this is going to come down to a lot of luck, and it's going to come down to attrition here on who has the better rosters.
And Brandon Graham, they've got a deep front, and he doesn't play 100% of the snaps. But Brandon Graham was an impact player and an emotional leader and just a physical leader in that locker room. So they're going to miss that. Aiden Hutchinson, tremendous impact player for the Lions, being out. Maybe he can come back, but they're going to need him. And that's the way it is for every team coming down the stretch, you can't afford to lose those critical playmakers.
Coach, this weekend, the Eagles have the Ravens. I mean, if you're talking about an MVP game, you're talking about situating yourself with your playoffs, both the AFC and NFC side. You got Derrick Henry, you got Barkley, you've got Lamar Jackson, and you got Jalen Hurts. You got Sirianni and John Harbaugh. I mean, you got Hamilton, and you've got this kid Cooper DeJean. I mean, it's really an all-star.
Big-time players.
I mean, who do you like in this one here this weekend? Because it's going to be a big-time ball game.
Well, I think the Eagles have a tremendous advantage that the law on the road. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Monday night on the road, big game for against the Chargers. The Ravens are going to have to lay it all out and then come back with a short week after 2 long flights and not being as rested as Philadelphia. That is going to be that extra day, I think, gives Philadelphia an advantage in this game.
Coach, absolutely awesome for you finding time for us. Thank you so much. I mean, everybody in Philly's jacked up, especially after they saw that iconic performance last night. You know, I mean, I don't know if you were on the field, Coach, or if you were in Pittsburgh the night OJ went for 273 on a Monday night against that steel curtain. I was a little kid, and I'm like, holy cow. Joe Ferguson is nobody. He was a teammate of mine with the Bucs, and I told him, I saw OJ go for 273 versus that steel curtain team. And that year, that steel curtain team, I forget, I think either that year or the 75 season, you guys shut out like 5 teams.
27 quarters, 27 straight quarters with no touchdowns. Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the great performances last night, though. Barkley over 300 total yards, right?
Incredible. And this team is running through Saquon now, and that's what they need to do. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much, and God bless. Have a happy holiday, Dan. You and your family.
Great to be with you. You too. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll be and big game. We will definitely be tuned into Ravens Eagles next week.
You bet, Coach. Thank you. God bless, Coach.
All righty.
You bet. The great Tony Dungy. Absolutely awesome. Iconic in Tampa. One of our dear friends, and we so appreciate him coming aboard with us. That was absolutely great. Do me a favor, guys. How about that? Jimmy Johnson and Tony Dungy. Did Dungy say Hurts was elite? Can we do this? Can we edit that out? Is there any way we can edit? I'm going to stop asking that freaking question. Yeah, look at Sue. I gave Sue a ton of shit. She thinks I hate her. Hey, Sue, just holler back at me. Coach, who's out there that would look at for edge? Philly, I don't think there's anybody. I really don't. I really don't. I don't think so. All-star cast today, Sills. Brian, what do you think I do here? I only bring, hey, by the way, you know, sometimes I just get lazy and I don't call. You know what? I booked those people today. What do you think I did? Those guys I called 4 or 5 weeks ago. I called Coach Dungy today and I said, Coach, can you have a couple minutes for me? He goes, yeah. I go, Coach, before you get on your private jet, go back to Almirada. Can you come on today? Yeah. Would you like Eric Allen tomorrow? By the way, Gary Cobb was awesome. You know what he said? I'll do it tomorrow, man. I want to listen. Thanks, Gary. Okay? Yeah. Hurts is just a different kind of elite. New age elite. Yeah. It's called common. He's okay. He's all right. Yeah. Elite. Nicole, hey, Sills. How the sweet potato pie? Haven't had it in a bit. I'll let you know after the holidays. Yeah. I'll let you know after the holidays. Gary Cobb's the best. Sills lazy? You know, lazy, Matt? When's the last time you saw me take a day off that wasn't holiday related? Have you ever? No. Lazy? Now, I may want a Corona every now and then. Great stuff, Sills. Love the show. We'll love Eric Allen tomorrow. All right. If I can, if I can remember, all supers go to the top. If you could get Donald Cox off the streets, Jason Pierre-Paul, who I know well, lives in Tampa, went to USF. Giants firing head coach and GM. They should be. They're stupid. All right, where are we on the like number? Look at this. Latoya. I bring you Jimmy Johnson and Tony Dungy. No Gary Cobb today? Tomorrow. Okay? There's just no pleasing people. 461. We may have a shot at 600. I don't know. How about that, Xander? By the way, we're going to get Mr. Eagle on himself, I believe, at the top of the hour. We'll get Mr. Eagle himself. By the way, you should have heard his bullshit yesterday. Oh, my God. Did you see? I was like, yes, I seen it. Yes. I've played against some of the greatest running backs of all. Yes, I played against Walter. Hey, here, so you know, on that list. Let me get this list. Okay. I've played against Walter Payton, and I've played against Eric Dickerson. Those guys were on the list. I've played against those guys. Yeah. Oh, did you see that? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know. It's all good. Yeah, it's all right. 456. That's great. All right, I'm going to take a timeout. And then Junior Krause is going to be on at the top of the hour, waving his Eagles Super Bowl hat. Holy cow. Hey, by the way, let me say this to you. Sills, how do you feel about the team on November 25th? Do you really now believe in them? I don't need the Raven game. I heard John and Xander say that. I'm done with that. Now it's about playing good football. If they drop that game, I don't care. I want them to win it. But if they drop that game, is that going to make me not think that they're still a team to beat in the NFC? No. Well, if they got crushed, I still wouldn't do it. I've seen great teams get crushed. Remember the year Kansas City blew out the New England Patriots? They went on to win a Super Bowl. Fucking cares. One game doesn't define a season. It does. I don't need the game on Sunday to define them and what they're doing. After what I watched last night and what I've been watching, I can't. Here's what I'm not going to do any longer to what Xander and John did today. I'm not going to go, well, let me see what they do against the Ravens. That's not going to define it. We got 6 games left now. Okay? I think we're pretty good. Last year at this time, they were 10-12. They were 10-2. It just looked different. And it doesn't look the same. Okay? It just doesn't look the same. I don't really think that again, have they wobbled? They wobbled because they're young. This is how, look at this. Here, watch this. This is how now I see your schedule and how you've played teams so far. Green Bay's a real good win. I'm sorry, I disagree with Xander and John. It's week 1. You can't use it as I am. They won it. Wins matter game 1 or week 11. The Atlanta loss, now I look at that by 1 point. Hey, it's the NFL. New Orleans, they got out hot. One of those teams that got out hot. Is that a good win back then when they were playing well, the Saints? Yeah. Do I still look at that as a good win? Yeah, because it helped define the early part of the season. The worst game of the year so far has been the Bucs when they got crushed in that game. They didn't even want to get off the bus. That's how bad that game was. After they get out of the bye, the Cleveland game, I thought they were still finding themselves now and finding out what they were going to do. as a football team. Run the ball, throw the ball. They were still caught in the middle there. Then the Giant game, if I'm not mistaken, the Giant game was when Barkley really took off. Let me see what he did in this game. Yeah, Barkley went for 176 in this game. Hurts only threw 14 passes. In my opinion, that Giant game turned the tide. The Giant game was the game that turned the tide for the Eagles, because then they started getting more proficient in running the football. Then they did a great job in being balanced against Cincinnati. Hurts went for 236, 20 passes. Barkley had 22 carries, went for 108. I mean, the passing game was decent, not great. Then you look at the game after Cincinnati. That was the Jags' tough one. That came down to a one score, and it was probably their worst played game of the year outside of the Bucs game. But Barkley went for 159 and Hurts went for 67 yards rushing. You're starting to define yourselves. You're starting to see who you are in that Jags game. The Dallas game, I mean, Dallas got out to a nice start. I mean, it was 14-6 at the half, if I remember right. But Saquon, I mean, it was more of a defensive effort in that game. Wasn't really any great numbers put up in that Dallas game. The Washington game, there's no doubt they began that Giants game in the Meadowlands, in my opinion, turned the tide on what they were going to be as a unit. And then the Washington game, I mean, they got out slow again. Barkley went for 146, 22 passes. They started defining themselves, in my opinion. They started defining themselves around the Giant game. Okay? All right, I'm going to take a timeout because we're going to get Xander at the top of the hour. Where are we on the like list or like button right now? How many likes do we have? Please hit the like button. Lamar Jackson loves primetime games. Matter of fact, he's 23-1 versus NFC teams. Louisville legend. He's outstanding. Thank you, Lord's Grace. The Bone, thank you, brother. Great show as usual, Big Sills. Would you describe what Thanksgiving is like for you and your wife? Sleep in? What time do you eat? What's on the menu? What's your favorite food? Stay home, go out. Wish you and your family the best. T-Bone, thank you very much. You're one of the absolute best, and I'll answer every one of them. Thanksgiving, a great turkey with my wife, unbelievable stuffing, corn, pies, football, family. I don't like a lot of people around me, so it's just me and my kid and my wife. Yeah, I like coconut pies. I sit around. I'm thankful for my family, my aunt, everybody. I'm thankful for my job. Thankful for all of you. Yeah, so I probably eat around 5:30, something like that. We eat probably around 5:30 because we put the turkey in the oven at 5 in the morning. And my wife's got this great system where she puts it in at 5 o'clock in the morning. And by 5:30, it falls off the bone. It's freaking unbelievable. Makes the greatest stuffing on the planet. I love it. Okay. I'm not a yam guy. My kid, my wife are yams. Thank you, BC. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. That to me, Thanksgiving, and my birthday's January 3rd. So this time from Thanksgiving on, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then January 3rd, my birthday. It's kind of like the big sales time. My aunt's birthday's too, December 6th. So that's kind of in there too. My uncle Robustelli's in there too. Okay. Hey, No, he doesn't edit the content, senorita. What a toolbox. Yeah, what do you think he goes in? Who do you think he is? This guy thinks he's Martin Scorsese. He goes in on a podcast and he like clips the tape, puts it together. Hey, God. Holy shit. What a stupid take. Senor, really? You think he's Martin Scorsese? This guy's editing my holy cow. No, that's CBS. They're the only people, ABC, excuse me. That's the only people that do that shit. They're the ones that edit. Oh, let's see here. What says would think Xander uses scissors and tape. That's just for your circumcision. How many people in here believe Senor's got a circumcision? I do. There's certain dudes in here that look like they've been snipped, and he's one. Oh, man. No cottage cheese. Oh, man. Still another reason to thank the Giants. We should bring in Daniel Jones to play Lamar in practice. Hey, dude, one thing before I take a time out here. Okay, ready? Let me show you something here. We eat meat pies here. Tomato or cheese on top. I'll try anything, boss. Here. Look at this. The New York Giants. Here it is. So the New York Giants in the last decade are 56-101-1 with 2 playoff appearances. They blew out Daniel Jones, who they gave $150 million to. They let Saquon Barkley walk out the building. And I'm trying to believe that Joe Schoen is not Dave Gettleman 2.0. What have they done in 10 years? John Mara has run the Giants into the toilet. You can goof all you want on the Jets. The Jets are the Jets, I get it, but the Giants? I don't ever remember in my lifetime, except for the Joe Pisarcik years, that the Giants stuck so bad. I can't believe what I'm watching. New York Giant tickets used to be willed to people. You couldn't walk up to like the gate at the Meadowlands or even the Yale Bowl, and you couldn't get Giant tickets. You just couldn't get Giant tickets. Now, the Giants are a joke. John Mara, 56-101-1 in the last decade. Dude, ever since Jerry Reese and Tom Coughlin left that building, the Giants have been a train wreck. You know how everybody wanted Tom Coughlin out of the building and they wanted to fire Jerry Reese? What have you done since? The Joe Judges of the world letting Barkley dude, how do you I heard John McMullen and Xander at the beginning of the year going, well, what are the Giants? You're going to let that guy walk? How about this? Even if you are going to let Barkley walk out the building, you're not going to get anything in return? How do you not get – I forgot to ask Jimmy. Can you imagine? That'd be like letting Herschel Walker walk out of the building. Jimmy Johnson built the Cowboy dynasty off of Herschel Walker leaving. You're telling me the Giants couldn't get anything in return for him? Nothing. Not even a third rounder. Think about that. Look at Blaine here. 56-101-1 are the New York Giants in the last decade, with only 2 appearances in the postseason, and they're 1-2. Where are you going? Where are you going? I mean, hey, I may get on the Eagles, busters, and chops all the time. But fuck, man. 56, 101, and 1. The owner is responsible for this. It falls at the feet of John Mara. Okay? Falls at the feet of the owner. All right. Hit the like button. Xander's going to join us at the top of the hour. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
National Football Show, final hour of the program. What an iconic day for us here. Two Hall of Fame coaches, Jimmy Johnson and Tony Dungy, joined us. By the way, I think we're like, 6 away from 500 likes. Guys, please hit the like button. Also, supers go to the top. You guys have been great today. Real quick, before we bring in Mr. Eagle. Here, T-Bone. Great stuff here, man. Missed most of the show today. Work. God bless you, brother. Gotta put up for the family with BG out. How about Jalix? 10-15 more snaps. Number 93 on the edge, 10 to 15, Booker. You're not wrong here, T-Bone. This is kind of what he's probably going to do. He's going to mix and match, and he's going to find the right combinations. That's what this is about right now, T-Bone. He's going to find the right combinations that he sees that are going to be able to fit. Now, look, here's what you become. Take a look at this now. Without Brandon Graham out there on the perimeter, you are very small at edge. Outside of Smith and Jalix Hunt, those are little dudes. You're little out there now. Teams are going to attack that. You know what they're going to start attacking the Eagles? They're going to start going at Slay more. You know why? He's banged up. Every game, he's showing injuries. Now you're smaller at edge. Dude, Sweat's great. He's having a great season. But I'm going to attack those edges. And I'm going to start targeting. If you notice, the Rams are targeting Slay. Real quick before you get to Xander here. So here's Barkley, last 2 games. He's averaging 200 yards at 6.2 a carry. Once again, man, I go back to the Giants and go, what in the frig are you doing? 200 yards he's averaging. And by the way, the MVP conversation, you're going to rest them in Carolina. You're going to rest them for the Giants. You're going to rest them for Dallas. Is that important? Not really. But again, legacies. People who look down on an MVP and say that doesn't matter, they don't have legacies. Okay? If you don't have a legacy, you wouldn't know what being an MVP of the National Football League is. It's one of the most iconic things ever. Especially if you don't win a Super Bowl. You don't win a Super Bowl and you don't win the MVP. I don't know. Why can't I have both? You know what I'm saying? All right. Holy cow. You know, when Christmas and you're a little kid and you come down running downstairs and you see all the presents under the tree and you go like this, oh my God, look at everything. There's my bike with the horn on it. There's my kickstand. Look at oh my God, Daddy Krause. Oh my God, I can't believe. Look at my toy soccer boxers. They're under the tree. Holy shit. That's what I felt like with Xander last night. After the Eagles blew out the Rams last night. Holy shit. I was like, man, this is the greatest performance I've ever done. I was like, oh, and John and I were like, hey, kid. Holy shit, man. Without further ado, the man who, as my aunt would say, is all of a sudden becoming a media icon. Sorry, Betty, I had to tell him. The legendary Big C, Xander Krause. How you doing, brother? Thanks for going for the 20, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, big thanks, T-Bone. What's going on, Big Cells? 9-2, baby.
Holy cow, man. You were so excited last night. You should be, though, man. That was a great performance last night. It really was.
Yeah, it was tremendous. I think this team is really starting to prove it late in the year. Now they're getting later in the year here. Cells, football, as you know, is a game of big people beating up little people or people out physicaling one another. And this team is proving week in and week out that they are more physical than whoever lines up on the other side of them. And they just keep wearing these teams down. And you had Saquon Barkley. You had this offensive line, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Boy, what we're witnessing. We maybe have on that offensive line, Sills, when you think about it, you might have 2 All-Pros and 3 Pro Bowlers this year.
Yeah.
And you maybe could make an argument Landon Dickerson's an All-Pro level guard.
I think the whole group's going to Pro Bowl.
At least. I think Lane Johnson's still an All-Pro. I think Jordan Mailata's arguably in that conversation. I think Landon Dickerson's arguably in that conversation. And then I think Ty Becton and Juergens are both Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, which I predicted he'd be a Pro Bowler at the beginning. All Super Chats will be read at
crazy,
the end.
man. It's crazy when you.
By the way, you want to hear this? I said it earlier in the program. I think Cam Juergens is an upgrade from Jason Kelce a year ago.
Wow, you think that?
Yeah, I do.
Just because he's younger, got a little more energy, yeah.
Yep. If you remember right at the end of the year, there were a lot of false starts.
Yeah, there were some moments with Kelce. You could see him aging a little bit.
Okay,
for sure.
Like towards down stretch. Right now, last night, so I'm getting on second and third levels, getting out in the perimeter. I think he's had a great season this year. Is he the second best All-Pro center in the NFC? I mean, the guy up in Detroit rack now is going to win it. He's going to be the All-Pro. But I mean, is there anybody else in the NFC that you would put? And by the way, for a team that's averaging 180 yards a carry, 180 yards a game. I mean,
Right.
dude, you got to be thinking that he's going to get the accolades. So that entire group is going to be considered, in my opinion, for the Pro Bowl. I mean, what a great comment. Just some of your takeaways, though. Give me your takeaway on what the top 3 takeaways were from last night.
Well, I think number one is obvious. I mean, it's Saquon, and everybody's gonna have that takeaway anytime somebody puts up 300 yards of offense in a game as a skill position
Sander,
player.
when I hear 9th greatest performance at anything in the NFL, you got my attention.
Again, and that's why, that's part of why I made that comment last night. I know we got into a little bit of a debate, and Big Sills maybe wasn't so happy with some of my commentary, but I love A.J. Brown, and I hope nobody takes this as a slight to A.J. Brown. I think he's one of the best receivers in the game. I think Sills was right. I would take him maybe over anybody when you add in what he can do in the running game with the blocking and everything. But until I see him do something that sets the record books on fire, like I'm watching Saquon Barkley do over and over again this year, I got to give it to I think Saquon Barkley is the best football player in this team. I really do. I think he's that good, and I think he's been completely unleashed behind this offensive line. And what a sight it is to see Big Sills. 302 yards last night, man. It's unbelievable what he's doing.
Can I tell you what I said this in the open. I think what's happened finally, they have matched the back with the talent of the old line. And what I mean by that is, look, I think Miles Sanders, Pro Bowler. I think that DeAndre Swift, Pro Bowler. I think those guys are all fine ball players. They're good. But when you put them on other teams, take a look at how they look. Now, not that DeAndre's not playing well in Chicago, because he is, but he's not playing to the level that he played a year ago when he was behind that O-line.
Right.
You put a guy like Barkley back there or a guy like Henry back there, and you match the talent up with what you have with that O-line. I think this is the first time that group now has somebody as talented as them. I mean, Xander, the fucking guy's running through the line of scrimmage. He's not being touched for 40 yards, and they're gaping holes.
Yeah, both deserve credit. I mean, Saquon, look, we had this offensive line. This offensive line, while it might look a little different this year, it's been this good for many years, obviously. And, we had good running backs, but we didn't have this. No. We didn't have this. This is a dominant force that you can know it's coming, and you still can't do anything about it because you just can't get through. You can't get past the offensive lineman, and then once you do, Saquon Barkley's already well past you, leaving you in the dust. So it's incredible to watch, man. Second takeaway is going defense, because the defense continues to show out. They started a little slow, as it seems to have been with them. When they do give up yards, they come early to teams, and McVay, credit to him, and Stafford, they had a good game plan coming in. Those first 2 drives, they put up 120, 130 yards. And then after that, there wasn't much until the garbage time when they got a touchdown toward the end.
Yeah, in-game adjustments. They absolutely shut them down in there, no doubt. I'll make the comment to you here, man. Look, I think Barkley's better than Shady.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I think Saquon Barkley's the best running back we've ever had. Now,
I'm not
old enough to remember all of them, but I mean,
dude, no diss on Shady. No,
it's not a diss on Shady at all. And similar to the way it's not, I don't think it's a diss on anybody else to say he's the best player in the damn Eagles. When I watch that, I don't know. Maybe I'm just eagle colored glasses and I'm high on the performance, but this dude it's not just 1 week he's done this. I mean, this is multiple weeks that you look at. I've given away 7 Saquon jerseys. I've given away 7 Saquon jerseys this year. 125 yards is no small feat in the NFL.
125 yards total offense. This guy
we give away a jersey. I mean, many are calling for me to give away 2 tomorrow because of what he did. And will I do it? Will I do it, everybody? We will see if I do an extra jersey for the historic performance from Saquon Barkley. But it's been unbelievable to watch, man. Defense, I said, second takeaway. And my third takeaway, Sales, I said this morning, and I'm curious to hear your take on this. I think Jalen's learning how to be a game manager. And I don't mean that in a negative way one bit. Jalen Hurts is a playmaker. He's been a playmaker his entire life. Every team he's ever been a part of has required Jalen Hurts at times to go out on a limb and be the playmaker for the team. Well, he doesn't have to be that on this team. And that's hard when you go from making plays every play as a quarterback all your life to going to a spot and saying, I don't have to do it all every play. I can let AJ thrive here. I can let Saquon thrive here. And when you look at what he's done in the turnover department, when you look at the efficiency passing the ball and the passer rating and the completion percentage, this is a recipe to beat anybody in the league. Now, it doesn't look like Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or any of these other guys. And I don't give a shit anymore because I don't want it to look like that. So at the end of the day, Jimmy Johnson on this show today said, well, he needs weapons. And I get it, but
Dungy said the opposite.
What does the alternative get you, right? Because has Josh Allen proven to you that he's an elite quarterback?
Yes.
Has Lamar Jackson proven to you that he's an elite quarterback?
Yes.
Has Joe Burrow proven to you he's an elite quarterback? Okay, and what has that gotten you? Because they don't have the weapons to do it all.
The team.
So at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. They don't have the team. So every quarterback needs the team in order to do what we're all looking for. And that's not win MVPs. That's not be called elite by Dan Sileo. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for trophies. And every quarterback, maybe with the exception of Mahomes right now, who just keeps figuring it out with nobody.
And they're wobbling too.
And I'm more focused on that than I am on saying, wow, Jalen won without weapons. I don't care if he can win without weapons because we're not going to go the distance without the weapons.
Two coaches, Hall of Fame coaches, had two different opinions. By the way, super chats will all be read.
By the way, both were tremendous today. Both.
Here, both had different opinions on Hurts. Tony thinks you can win with that style. Jimmy thinks that he has to have all the components around him. And for me, what you're saying here, I'll tell you a story about Dan Marino White and won Super Bowls and how he got in the way, and I'm going to tie it into Hurts here. So when Jimmy got to Miami, Xander, he wanted to be able to have more balance and run the football. Dan Marino had only one 1,000-yard rusher in his 20 years when he was in Miami. You know what? You know why that was? He didn't want to develop a run game. He got in the way. Right. So it was all about throwing the ball in the air, was all about getting yards, was all about attempts. You know what Jalen has done? Jalen's ego is not in the way here like Aikman's ego wasn't in the way because last night, he got out of the way.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Someone's going
by the way, but I'll add to that. He also had an efficient game.
But that's a guy. Wait a minute. It's not a rip. I'm not ripping.
No, I know you're. Yeah, I see what you're saying completely.
Okay,
it's not a
I
rip
am not. Hey, if I'm watching the 9th greatest performance in 110 years of pro football, I'm going to get out of the way of that. And I'm not going to try to go, Marino would go, I got to get my pass attempts in here.
Right.
And that's getting in the way. Hurts, since the bye, has been between 14 and 25 attempts, has kind of gotten out of the way, has been efficient, made a great throw last night to the back of the end zone. And I even tweeted out immediately, I go, if you don't call that a touchdown, that's robbery.
Yeah,
because he got them feet in last night. It was a spectacular catch. He's being efficient on third down. Hey, he wasn't special. He doesn't have to be when you have a special moment like that last night. There's going to be a time when he's going to have to be special.
Yeah.
But last night wasn't it.
Yeah, but there were still moments in that game where it was a third down. You needed Jalen to make a throw, and he did last night.
I was more impressed with the
run. Yeah, right. I mean, whatever it is, he still seems to do that. And I'll add in, Sills, part of not being in the way is not just not being over the top involved, but it's also not having the negative plays. And that's what's so important. That's what Jalen is right now. He's not putting the ball in harm's way at all. It's not even right now. It's not even close to a concern for this team. And when you have Saquon, when you have AJ, when you have that offensive line, you can manage the game. You can have a different approach. And without those negative plays, I don't see how. I think this team can beat anybody in the league.
I see negative plays with missing wide open Goddards and taking sacks. Still,
well, those are a different kind of negative plays. Those are the type of plays you want back, but they don't break your back.
Because
turnovers,
you got a guy doing something special.
Well, yeah, but turnovers, I mean, you can't have a 7-point swing with a fumble return for a touchdown.
That sack took him out of field goal position.
Yeah, but come on, man. He had one sack in the game.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Wait, I'm not pointing out one. I'm pointing out missed touchdown, wide open throw, and a sack that took you out of field position. That's 10 points.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's fair, but look, he's not taking away.
He's not killing them. No. Again, I don't want to nitpick on something that last night was a destruction. Because what happened last night was, hey, the Eagles went like this. Hey, listen, I'm going to hit you right in the face. And if you can't duck, I'm going to pound you into submission. And that's exactly what they did. They pounded them into submission last night. You asked me a question prior to the game. Sills, what do you think he's going to do? I thought he'd go for about 150 yards and 60 yards. It's kind of where he was in the room. That's what he's going to be, Xander. And that's okay. Like you said.
I think there will be moments where he'll be more than that too. I mean,
he hasn't had them yet, but
you haven't had him much this year. But there's been moments where
What's wrong with your mic? There's something wrong with your mic. Is it all good?
It's not sounding good.
No, it was just sounding different. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh wait, yeah, no. How's that?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck what's going on with my thing, and started messing up last night on the halftime show. It's been giving me a problem ever since. But now, look, you're right. You're not wrong, but I think Jalen right now. I mean, I'm not as.
I don't have a problem with who he's playing.
Look, he's got the best passer rating he's ever had in his career in the NFL, which says something. He's got the highest completion percentage he's ever had in the NFL, which is high by a league average too, by the way. He's up in the 70s, which is pretty remarkable. So when he is throwing the football, look, you can still, and I know, I get what you're saying. There's moments you look and you're like, oh, you missed an open guy. You can do that with every.
But they're limiting his attempts because they're limiting high turnover opportunities.
Well, are they limiting his attempts because they want to, or are they limiting his attempts because they have an absolute weapon in the backfield who is making teams pay?
And creating one-on-one opportunities on the perimeter.
Right.
Absolutely true. By the way, I'm going to say this. You keep playing the way you're playing, 150 yards and carries when it comes to Barkley, and you keep getting those one-on-ones on the perimeter like that, until someone stops it, Xander, I'm not going to change my game plan. How about the players going over to Nick and walking right up to him? It was reported last night by Collinsworth. They thought they were going to start throwing the ball more, and what'd they do? The O-line went right over and said, hey, let's get back to our identity here, and let's run the ball here, because you know what they probably felt? They probably, as a unit, went like this. This D-line's undersized. We're going to run them into the ground. Just give us the opportunity. They gave him the opportunity, and guess what? They ran him into the ground. Would you make of Barkley being out there, though, when the game was in hand, and you now have an opportunity here where, guess what? If you're not talking about MVPs, you're not worried about it, then why are you playing him in a fourth quarter that the game was completely out of hand?
Yeah, I mean, was it completely out of hand at that point? I would never take it for granted either there, especially, by the way, when you're fighting for the 1 seed right now. I think the NFC East is pretty much wrapped up, but you know how much bigger value it would be to host that NFC Championship game versus go to Detroit? I do not. Look, Eagles versus Detroit at this moment in time is basically a toss-up. I'll take the Birds right now because I think they're more physical, and I think they have the better offensive line and the better running game with Saquon. As you put now, David Montgomery got hurt yesterday, so we'll see what happens with him. I don't know how bad it was, but Jahmyr Gibbs.
They're going to have 3,000 rushing yards with 2 guys.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what they're doing. But look, my point is, I think it's a toss-up. You put that game in Lucas or in Ford Field in Detroit, I might lean Detroit. You put that game in Philly in January, sorry, I don't like Jared Goff in that moment.
Outside.
I don't like that moment for Jared Goff. So
I hate dome teams.
That's where I'm like, you mentioned the Panthers game. I'm not sitting anybody. I'm coming for the 1 seed because I believe it gives me that much bigger of a chance at getting to the Super Bowl. And it gives you obviously the bye week to get a little bit healthier. I'm fighting like tooth and nail to get that 1 seed. I'm not going into this Ravens game, we can lose. We need to win this football game.
Before I get to the Ravens game, loss of Brandon Graham means what?
Oh, it's massive, man. It's massive. And as much as I'm trying to be, I'm not going to sit here and say, that's a season changer. I do think it changes it. I'm not going to say it's a season ender, I guess would be a better word, but you do have to look like, where are they going to get the snaps?
That's not a season ender. What it is a season.
That's multiple injuries, remember, at that edge.
That's right.
I know Bryce Huff wasn't a great player, but you're now looking at you're looking at like, I need bodies at this point. I'm not even talking about production is secondary. I don't even have the bodies to make up for the 65 snaps a game.
You don't have bodies, and you're undersized out there with the bodies you have.
And remember what happened to Josh Sweat last year, late in the year, from getting too many snaps. He had that
975
catastrophic injury back early in his career. I think it was late high school or college or whatever.
Yeah, it was in high school. But remember this: the more reps he took, the less production he had. That's going to increase.
Yeah, and there's not many people out there. Clear
There's
voices.
nobody that's worthy.
Any retired. I mean, maybe if you want to lure somebody out, I don't know about that, but the only thing I could see them doing would maybe be like is there like a Ndamukong Suh signing like player where then you could move Milton more to the outside and get more depth at the.
What do you make of my deal? Go ask Aaron Donald if he wants to play.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, somebody said Fletcher too. Fletcher lost too much weight. I don't think he's in game shape anymore.
Aaron Donald still looks good, man. I mean,
yeah. Aaron Donald and Jalen Carter. Holy shit. Who's stopping that team?
And by the way, if the Rams have no shot at it, would they allow him to, like, because if there's money on the cap, I think they're still tied into that.
Yeah. Do they still have his rights? I think he's still got
well, he's retired, but I think because he's on that cap hit, because they're still paying him, I think he's
Kokorski brings up one. Frank Clark's out there. There's a couple, but there's nobody that's going to change the game.
Is that the former Packer?
Yeah, he was with the Chiefs too.
Oh, he was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he was with the Chiefs when they just won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So I think it was 2 years ago or 1 year ago when he was with them. But there's not many people out there. So that's a concern because, John says this all the time. Doug Peterson used to say, it's not the injuries I fear. It's multiple injuries at the same position.
Right.
And when you're talking about the edge rusher, you're talking about a premium position. This isn't like losing a free safety. This is, you're losing a premium position of getting after the quarterback. And the Eagles have been good at getting after quarterbacks this year. That's a concern. There's no doubt that that's a concern, but we'll see. Right now, Vic Fangio has not given me any reason to not trust him. I think, he's going to figure it out. Hey, Jordan Davis, it's time to show why you're a 13th pick. Because now I can't afford to just play you as a nose. You're going to have to play 3 technique. You're going to have to play in a 4-man front. You're going to have to be a more versatile defensive tackle. You're going to have to be.
And I don't think he's capable.
See, why not? Is it technique? Is it hands? Is it okay? Because I look at Jordan, I'm like, I know he's a big boy, but the dude's athletic as hell. Like, he should be able to play it, but
he's quicker with his hands and feet. He's got more tenacity. Here's the difference between Jordan. He malazes his way into a block, and he just like Velcro, and he can't get off those fucking blocks.
Well, isn't that part of the conditioning? Like, Sills, when you
play it's see, here's what he's doing. He's so good at the point of attack. He'll go like this, and then watch this, Xander. He'll peek and then get driven. When you stand up, I don't care who you are and how strong you are. If you bench 550, it doesn't matter. If you do this, you're blocked.
Right.
They're just too good.
It's what happened to Mailata last night. He was too high. He got cleaned by Jared Hurts.
Yeah, but guess what? Okay, if that guy better put that in his wallet as a memento, because after that, Mailata drove him into the ground.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a pancake fest out there. Hey, last night, they should call that O-line the International House of Philly, because that was a pancake house last night, dude.
Joe Whipp, are you in the chat? Didn't you have a good name
everywhere?
I think Joe Whipp had a good name for the offensive line before the year. What was it? The Great Wall of Philly? Was that what it was?
Sure. I mean, yeah, but that was, like I said, that was the International House of Pancake Philly.
It was.
They were just pancaking guys everywhere. Milton Williams.
By the way, I want to give you a little credit too. I thought you were spot on today with a lot of. I mean, you always are, but I think the way you spoke about the team, and now they're showing it for real.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you won shit. You didn't win shit. I love that message from Nick Sirianni. By the way,
yesterday too, man. They have.
I love that message from him. That's where I think Nick really does a nice job. Sometimes I think he reads the room.
I didn't think he had a great
well.
game.
No, he did not. He did not have his best game. He did
but
not.
he's better in the locker room.
Yeah,
than
he's good at that. I mean, he's good at that. I thought that was a good message from him. But the team is starting to really show it. And when you see an elite running game, an elite offensive line, and a defense that's playing like this, you can beat anybody in this league. That's what makes football. Football's a physical game at heart. That's what it is. When you can out-physical people on the lines, when you can run down someone's throat and they can't stop it no matter what they do, when you can stop offenses that hum like the Rams offense. Remember, they had Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. All those guys were out there. Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford. They were all out there yesterday. They made that offense look like a shell of itself, and I think that really shows you how good this team can be. Now, they got to keep doing it, but I'm high on what this team can be right now.
Cosmo's right, dude. I had a bunch of friends that were at SoFi. It was Phillywood.
Yeah.
Dude, the place had 75% Eagle fans in the place.
Yeah, we had a couple of JAKIB Nation people were in there. Brian Fleming, if you're in here, you were there. Mad Bird was out there.
They said that the place was all green, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty impressive out there, to say the least. Yeah, to your point, Xander, when you get a football team that is saying no mas and you're just beating somebody up like that, they beat them up, man. First quarter, how about Vic, man? Vic has the patience. His teams the last couple of weeks, first quarter, I don't know. After that, in-game adjustments, that guy in-game adjusts. Holy shit, he shut them down. 290 yards of total offense, 4.6 yards per play. I mean, they just beat him up and held them under 60 plays again. Incredible.
Hey, can I challenge you on something that we've been debating for a couple of weeks? Can you give Darius Slay a little bit of credit? Because it looked like shit last night.
What's that?
It looked like shit last night when he got hurt. Now, you're right. Here's what you're right about. He keeps getting banged up about every single game. But, boy, when he wasn't out there, Matthew Stafford had a field day on Isaiah Rodgers last night.
It went right there, too, to Isaiah Rodgers.
Over and over and over again. They picked on him, and I'm like, look, I got problems with Slay, too, but he's still playing coverage at a high level.
Well, he had a couple pass interferences. He had 3 of them last night.
Yeah, but that one call on him was.
Hey, I'm not a ref guy either.
I try not to. I'm not
a ref guy either, but I thought it was really over the top.
It was shitty. Yeah, it was shitty.
All right, so let me show you this one here now. So this weekend, you have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, that Edwards kid at tight end. You have Hamilton, who's that secondary guy for the Ravens. You got Jalen Carter. I mean, fuck, man. You could put this is like the Pro Bowl.
It's unbelievable.
MVP game this week.
Wait, though, can I make this Ravens team, for as good as they are and for as high as people talk about them, still, they're 7-4 right now. They got a couple really crappy losses, and they're going up against a tough Chargers team tonight. If they lose tonight's game, they drop to 7-5. I mean, all of a sudden, you're looking at this. They're going to be fighting for a wild card spot at 7-5 in the AFC.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
I'm not saying they're there yet. They might win tonight, move to 8-4, and be in control. But
that's fair. But do you think this? So you play Kansas City, you play Buffalo, you played the Bucks, you played Denver, and you played Pittsburgh. All those teams are playoff teams, contending teams.
Yeah,
every one of them. Okay, I mean. It's not like they've had a couple weeks where they could sit guys. And now you're right. Okay? The Cleveland loss is awful. There's
Can I take some flowers on Commanders, by the way?
What's that? No, I'm not done with them.
Oh, you're not.
They haven't.
I didn't say I was done with them, but I told everybody on this show, and Flex, you called me a dumbass. I said they might come back to earth a little bit.
Since 1997.
Listen, they've dropped 3 straight now. I mean,
bad ones too.
They're halfway. Listen, you rip. I've been hearing about our collapse last year for the past year. You haven't let us forgot that thing one single day on this show. They're halfway there. They just dropped 3 straight after starting 7-2. We were 1-6 down the stretch last year. The Commanders are halfway there.
Let me start being a dick here. I've been trying to be nice. Hey, by the way. This guy, look at what he did last night. He made poor John McMullen apologize. I'm like, fuck that. I ain't apologizing.
Oh, you were crying too. I love the Sileo signature of just get the pen.
I was writing.
Just start writing. Xander's an asshole.
Start writing. Xander's the dumbass. That's what I'm writing over here.
Writing that. Good stuff.
It was, man. Hey, I love that shit, actually.
I don't know where this post-game show is going.
Stop fucking moaning.
I'll tell you where it's fucking going. It's going to Saquon Barkley land, bitch. And the capital is the offensive line. Motherfucker.
Oh, my God. This guy, my aunt's right. You're uncontrollable.
I'm out of control.
Hey.
9-2, baby.
Hey, wait a minute. Okay. Vic Fangio. What do you make of him?
Holy moly, man. What he's done with this team is really impressive.
Hey, does he make the Dolphins guys look like dicks now?
You know that saying is it, and you asked it to either Tony or Jimmy, I forget which one, but is it the Jimmys and Joes or the X's and the O's? For the first time, I'm wondering if it's the X's and the O's a little bit with this team, because Vic Fangio has turned this team into they're an unbelievable defense. They're top there. They're really good. I mean, and they continue to show it now versus pretty good offenses.
Nutrition, Xander, is going to be the determining factor now moving forward. Here, as I said in my takeaways, at the end, I said this. Now it's just about being consistent and not getting hurt because they're good.
That's where I'm worried right now, because you're late November right now. Everything looks real good, but we got a couple injuries. Like that Bryce Huff injury, they didn't really tell us much. They were like, oh, he might be back by the end of the year.
Put him on IR.
Like, what does that mean, that he might be back? They didn't give us any, he'll be back for the year. He's out for the year. That's in la-la land. Brandon Graham's now out for the year. I mean, Josh Sweat, I know he's okay after last night, but boy, look at what his drop-off was last year when he got too many snaps. So the war of attrition is about to start really kicking, and
it started last night.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest fear about this team right now, because if they can avoid the injury bug here late in the year, and now you're about to play the Ravens, you're about to play the Steelers.
That's going to be a physical game. Those two games.
Steelers too. Those are physical football contests. I mean, that's going to be interesting to see how those play out and what kind of toll those games will have on the team. But should be good, man. Hopefully they can stay healthy.
You got a couple more minutes here?
Yeah, I got a couple more. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to do something with you here. Then we'll do the super chats. I did it earlier, and I would never have compared the 24 defense to the 22 defense. Never would have at the beginning of the year. Crazy.
24 is better.
Okay, no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You don't have a better group at defensive tackles than
22
you did.
was more productive in terms of stats.
Here. Do you think you have a better group of defensive tackles right now than you did in 22?
Well, 22, you had Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, who were both exceptional that year.
And you had exceptional run stoppers in Sue and Linville Joseph.
Yeah, who were brought in late, and they did play a good role. Yeah, you're probably right. You don't have the depth. Yeah,
you have the better player.
I don't know, because Jalen Carter is really good, but
no, you have the better player in Carter, but you don't have the better. Dude, you're not getting shit out of Davis over there, and you're not getting.
I don't want to say you're not getting shit, but you're not getting.
Well, look, you had 11 sacks with Hargrave and 6.5 with Cox, and you had run stoppers right behind them. Yeah. I mean, you had sacks and run stoppers. You don't have that right now.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. That defensive line's probably better.
Better player than any of the years with Carter. Carter's the better player of the two groups.
Yeah, I like this defense better because I think it complements this team perfectly and their setup. But I do see what you're saying.
So there's 22. Okay, you're not better at edge than you were at 22.
Not even close there. I mean, you had Hassan Reddick, who was having a historic season. Josh Sweat had a good year that year. Brandon Graham was productive that year.
11 sacks, and you had Sweat with 11.
Yeah, I mean, both of them played really good. So
I never thought I would say this. This is fucking crazy.
Linebackers are better.
I think the linebacking core is better. Now, look.
They are.
Okay, TJ and Bond. I think Bond runs to the ball better, and I think he blitzes better, and I think he's better in space than TJ.
TJ was great. TJ was not like Bond. Bond is way more versatile of a linebacker.
The only problem is Bond is this a one-year deal, or are we going to see this?
Well, who cares, right? I need to listen. I know it's exciting.
Years. Okay,
if he can be this all year, I'll take it, man. What the fuck?
How about this? Kaiser had 120 tackles that year, and that's what this kid's on pace for. But you know what I look at with Dean right now? I think he runs to the ball better than White, and I think he blitzes better than White.
Tackles. Remember, a lot of those tackles came, a couple yards behind.
I never thought I would say the linebacking core at the beginning of the year is better than that 22 Super Bowl team, but it is. Now, here's, again, another conversation. Safeties. Dude, Epps was very underrated that year. He had 95 tackles that season.
Yeah, but Blankenship's been pretty good.
And hold on, you had him back there, and you also had Gardner Johnson, who led the NFL in interceptions that season. Yeah. However, I'm going to put Cooper more towards that slot safety, because you know why? That's more like a safety than a corner position. So to me, if I had to put I think Reed's played great, and I think Cooper's played great, and I'm going to go 24 with the safeties. Okay.
Yeah, you could make an argument either way because DJ Gardner Johnson was really good in terms of getting turnovers that year in 22. Yeah, so
here
now you could go either way there, but the point is, I think it's obviously not a perfect comparison because every year in the NFL is different and matchups and all those things. So I like the way this defense is set up, and I'll give the major advantage to the cornerbacks this year. I think Quinyon Mitchell's far better than Bradbury.
See, I think the 22 group's better because both were Pro Bowlers, and they were second in the NFL in pass defense. And how about this? Slade's been in and out of the lineup all season long. You have truly one good corner on one side, and as soon as that guy goes out, he comes out every game. And you don't really have the depth that you had in 22 at that corner position. So I think the 22, hey, look, you have the better player, but you don't have the better group again.
I think that's closer than you're letting on to believe.
You don't have two Pro Bowlers back there at corner.
No, you could presume. I mean, if Slay was playing more, he would be a Pro Bowler.
Okay, well, he's not. That's the point. Okay, so again,
all right, wait. The final one. You taking Vic? Are you taking Jonathan Gannon?
I don't know, man. Jonathan Gannon got to a Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm not knocking Gannon, but
I'll take Vic.
I'll take Vic.
I'll take Vic. Vic is doing almost the same. No, Nick is doing better with the same shit he had, but with lesser. Jonathan Gannon had a full deck, man. He had a full deck of defensive guys over there.
I mean, that D-line was nasty, man.
This guy's
when you think back on that D-line and think about how many guys they had producing on that line, that was pretty crazy. But
70 sacks, yeah, you're never going to see that again. Let's get to the Supers, brother.
Yeah, we're ready to win this year, man. I can smell it through the screen that you're even starting to believe it. It's oozing out of you. I'm gonna have to eat my words a little bit. This team is showing it.
November 25th, you're halfway through the race, Junior. You're going to blow a shoe out.
You're right. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong.
Make sure you don't blow a shoe out like you did a year ago.
D.O. says 21, 22, and 24 top 10 defenses, 23 defense outlier. There are some Jimmies and Joes, too, for sure. Definitely.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Jalen.
Yep, thank you, brother. Lord's Grace, you wouldn't be so thin on defensive line if Jordan Davis didn't look like a bum. Milton Williams is showing Jordan Davis how it's done. He's definitely better in the four.
Hey, by the way, who you signing? Milton Williams, Zach Bond, or Micaiah Becton?
I'm probably going Bond and Becton.
Okay.
Because I think Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter complicate Milton too much.
All right.
Now, you could consider trading Davis and extending Milton because Milton's better at the four-man front, which allows you to be a little bit more versatile.
Which means you don't have to get that $22 million fifth-year option.
Exactly. Now, that's an interest. I don't know how he's going to do that.
Well, he
Flex.
ain't paying it.
Look at
He
Flex.
ain't picking that fifth-year option.
Flex. Stop jumping the gun. Flex, aren't you getting tired of saying Xander was right again? Flex, aren't you getting tired, Flex?
Halfway through the race here, man. Holy shit. I'm like at a NASCAR race here. Go ahead, please.
Super Bowl, here we come.
Xander is too full of.
Flex, I know you're tired, man. I know you're tired.
Go ahead.
All right, we already read that one. Philly Don checks in. throw to Barkley on the sideline was spectacular. How about that? He got the knee down. That was like a cannon throw from Hurts there.
God, he's so good, man.
Dio says Barkley's skill set improves with better O-line. Henry does not need as much help from O-line, but Henry has a lower ceiling than Barkley.
Dude, I'm not going anywhere near that. That guy was awesome last night, and let me tell you, man, the O-line is spectacular, but he enhances it even more.
Hey, did you hear A.J. Brown comment on this, though? He played with both of them.
What'd he say?
Yeah, he said, I got Derek. Derek's my boy. I love Derek, but once I saw Saquon hurdle a man backwards and doing what he's been doing this year, I think I got to give Saquon the nod as the best player in the world at that position.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that guy's done it for 6 straight years.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but
okay,
Saquon was in New York. I mean, that place.
Dude, as a New York Giant kid, knowing what that franchise was and what they did to that guy and not utilizing his talent is fucking criminal. Yeah. Dude, they let the best running back they have had,
that organization,
that building, maybe of all time, just go away.
No doubt.
For nothing.
I don't know what they were doing. All right, here we go. T-Bone, thank you for your support, bro. You're the best. Z, enjoy the ride. We're flying first class. Birds prove they're legit. Ravens and Steelers will be 2 more great tests. Birds are better, but better doesn't equal a win. We'll see, Z. I want to hear about your Thanksgiving. T-Bone, thank you, brother. I normally go to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving, man. I come from a family that is a lot of home cooking, brother. A lot of home cooking. Back at the Big Z Castle, so it won't be at my place. I'll be going to my aunt's out in.
Seen this guy yesterday.
Out in Chester County. Wait, my aunt is my beautiful aunt and uncle's home. They live in Chester County. They live on like 70 acres. They just bought out there, and they live on the top of the mountain. They saved for their house for 15 years. They lived in a tiny little shack, and they built the house like 8 years ago. It's crazy though. I love going there. It's cool to see.
That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Well, it's not good for me. I mean, I'll enjoy the Thanksgiving there, but it ain't my place. It's not.
That's what I mean, man.
No, it's cool though. I'm excited to go there. But just to answer T-Bone, that's what I got going on. Abe says Vic over Gannon. Vic is doing it with less talent. You could argue that.
He has no question. And I don't know, man. As good as that 22, I see this team at defense being better next year and the year after. Because they're so young.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Out in Chester Springs, that's a cool place to live, man, out there, out in Chester County. Yeah, they had 20 acres, then they bought 50 more. They bought the 50 lot next to them. I'm like, whoo!
70 acres in Jersey?
No, PA. Chester.
PA?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No, it's in. It's,
are they Amish?
No, it's not that far in. It's Chester County. It's for Chester Springs is where it is. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm kidding.
It's a cool area. It's there's a lot of hills and it's fun to drive through out there. It's a lot different than where I'm from. I'm regular suburbia. But all right, I got to run. I got some clippings from the Big Sills show. I got to make.
Oh, so the Jimmy and the Dungy stuff will get put up today.
Oh yeah, why would it not?
I was just curious. I know that John is, ego Xander. I know that shit's got to.
I can't deal with this guy. Aunt Betty, what did you do to this guy?
Hey, by the way, one unbelievable job last night. But how long did you fucking stay on last night?
Oh, we were on, baby. We were on for about 2.5, 3 hours. We had the people in here. A lot of people in here who were on last night, which is cool to see because they were up late with me, and it's good to have them back in.
Great.
I'm looking at 2 hours of sleep, though. I got to get some rest, though.
All right, man. Great. Hey, Xander, your football team, man, they're proving a lot. Get this. They haven't proven anything, but they're surely showing a lot.
They're showing. I thought that was the right way to put it. They're showing a lot. They haven't proved shit yet. No doubt.
Yep, they're really showing.
All right, everybody. Great stuff, man.
All right, Xander. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Make sure you check out Birds 365 in the morning. Thank you, brother. Tell John I said hi.
All right, brother. See you.
That is fantastic, guys. 525 likes. Is there a possibility we could get to 600 likes by the end of the program? Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at JAKIB. At JAKIB we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give JAKIB a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Tell me where we are in the like button and where we are in the likes. We appreciate it, man. I know we're over 500, I believe. Love to see if there's an opportunity to get to maybe 600 by the top of the program. We got 10 minutes. Please hit the like button. Sue has us at 242. So real quick before we get into tonight's game, Ravens and Chargers. By the way, Ravens and Chargers, and then the Ravens have to turn around and play the Eagles on Sunday. Wow. Talk about, a pretty tough stretch here for the Ravens. But he's right. Ravens got to win these games, man. They got a tough schedule this year. Oh, you said 542? Very cool. Very good. Okay. Awesome. How about this? Couple notes here. Giants get on the they get destroyed by the Buccaneers, and they got crushed 30-7. I've been all over the Giants. I don't know what that game was too between the Commanders and the Cowboys. I even tweeted out prior to the game, hey, don't be shocked if the Cowboys win this game. Mark Holmes is probably all over himself here. No question. Even though Jaden Daniels had 275 yards and 2 touchdowns, the majority of that came at the very tail end of the game. They were getting blown out really by Mike Zimmer and that team. And I don't know. They're reeling. There's no question. Lions go to 10-1. Goff 269. I think he had 3 touchdowns and no picks. He's having a great year this year. Some of you were saying to me, hey, Sills, Sam Darnold, not very good. We had 330 yards passing and 2 touchdowns against the Bears. Not awful. The 49ers get beat by 28 points. No question about it that San Francisco, man, they're not making the playoffs. I don't see it. I don't see how they make the playoffs with all the injuries that they have on that football team. I mean, McCaffrey looks okay, but he's getting banged up. Debo and them, and then they didn't have Purdy in the game. But man, that thing was like that was a no-show. Green Bay is good, but can they hang with Detroit? And can they hang with the Eagles? I don't see it. I said it earlier. The top 4 teams in the NFC right now. Here, let's take a look at that before we get to tonight's game. So the top 4 teams. Let's do 5 teams. I picked the Lions at the beginning of the year to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to go Lions. Boy, my top 10 list is going to be different tomorrow. Philly. Philly's 9-2. Detroit's 10-1. Let's see if I can get a top 10 in the NFC. Number 3. Got to go Minnesota, 9-2. By the way, every one of these teams could still win home field. Minnesota, Philly, and Detroit. This is going to come down to schedule and who's healthy. Green Bay at 8-3 is still in it. Look, the significance of the loss of Brandon Graham, we're going to find that out this coming week on how significant that's going to be at the edge. Because I guarantee you, Baltimore's going to attack the edge this weekend. They're going to attack it. And they're going to run at that. So let's see if I can put a top 10 here. So I got Detroit, Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay. This is NFC. Who would I put next? Washington at 7-5. Now they're not in it for home field any longer. Seahawks, Arizona. Wow. The NFC is just not a good conference. These are non-factor teams. I mean, these are just non-factor teams. Once you get past Green Bay, they're just a collection of teams. They're not, I mean, that's good for the Eagles in Detroit because really outside of the top 2, I don't see anybody in the NFC. I mean, Atlanta at 6-5, Seattle at 6-5, Arizona at 6-5. Then you got the Rams and the Niners at 5-6. I mean, 7 teams make the postseason. And really after 4 teams in the NFC, you don't really have anybody. Okay, I mean, the NFC is just not very good. Now, over in the AFC side, somebody's going to be a good team and left out. You got the Chiefs, 10-1. KC. You've got the Bills at 9-2. Well, then again, wow. After those teams, the Ravens at 7-4. Look at the drop off there. Kansas City and Baltimore, 10-1, 9-2. Then you go to the Ravens, 7-4. Then you go to the Texans at 7-5. Denver at 7-5. there is a ton of average football being played right now. The Dolphins are coming back, really, after 6 teams in the AFC. So if I were to put this out there, what teams are Super Bowl truly contenders coming out of right now this past weekend? I mean, is Cincinnati now back in it? They're 4-7. They're probably not. But here are the teams. Buffalo, Detroit, Kansas City, Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. There's probably really 4 teams right now. Detroit, Philly, Kansas City, and Buffalo. Those are the 4 best teams in the league right now. Those are the 4 best right now. Detroit, Philly, Kansas City, Buffalo. That is what is winding up to be the conference championship games. KC, Buffalo again, and Detroit, Philly. And to Xander's point, this is going to come down to where that game is played. Is it going to be in the Dome in Detroit, or is it going to be at Lincoln Financial? And God forbid for Buffalo, if that game's at Arrowhead. Okay? God forbid that game's at Arrowhead. Because Buffalo will not go in there, I don't think, and win. If it's in Buffalo, they got a good shot of winning that football game. Hey, let me tell you this tonight, man. Justin Herbert's played really great football. Who you got tonight before we get out of here? Who do you got tonight, Xander? Chargers and Ravens. Boy, the Chargers are good, man. I'm going to go Ravens 26-24. I'm going to go Ravens. Chargers. It's Jesus. It's going to be a tight game. I'm going to go Baltimore 26-24. Lamar Jackson. You guys were fantastic today. We're going to work on Eric Allen for tomorrow. Hey, don't forget to go back and check out those interviews with Jimmy Johnson and Tony Dungy today. They were absolutely spectacular. Thank you guys so much. Big Joe, Xander, we thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Enjoy your football tonight, and we'll see you on the flip side.